This conference will now be recorded.
All right, good evening, everyone. We will begin the July 10th meeting of the Ennis Town Commission. Before we start, I'd just like to remind the room of the public meeting policy. We included it in the drive. It's basically just to keep us speeding along. It says, please be respectful while other people are speaking. Please do not interrupt. If you go to the mic, you have 3 minutes per topic. So that's the gist of it. If you're continuously interruptive and not listening, then I can ask you to leave. All right, thank you. Let's start with a roll call of the council. Commissioner Sally, rolling in hot. Wake.
Here.
Nehan. Abernathy. Corey.
Here.
Oh, Mr. Hardy, sorry. All right, if we could all please stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Approval of the June 12th meeting minutes. Have a motion?
I wasn't at June 12th meeting,
No, you weren't.
so I shouldn't approve that.
Nehan first.
Second.
Is your mic on? I can't tell. And Mitch with the second. Any additions or corrections? All right, vote. Sally?
Aye.
I probably shouldn't vote on this.
Abstaining?
Aye.
Abstain.
All right. Approved. And then approval of the June 30th meeting minutes.
I move to approve June 30 minutes.
Second.
Any additions, corrections? All right. John Way.
Aye.
Mr. Nehan?
Aye.
Abernathy?
Aye.
Hardy?
Aye.
And Sally.
Aye.
Department reports. Karen, you want to lead us off?
Good evening. Everything's going very well at the library. I just first of all want to give out a really big shout out to my staff. It's you all know how busy it is in town. The inside of our building is a reflection of that on the inside. They have been keeping up with local patrons and requests, as well as all the visitors seeking refuge with their kids and from the heat, and our public bathrooms. They've been keeping up on the facilities. They have been courteous and genuine, and they have made everyone feel at home here in Ennis. And I just can't say enough about them, especially during this busy season. We're taking a little break from programming during July to focus on literacy. Our summer reading program is in full swing right now. So just first of all, our use from June to June, year to year. So just people in the door is up about 12% since last year, but just the first week of July, it's up about 25% since last year. And that reflects in our programming attendance too. But it's all going very well. Do you have any questions for me?
How do you keep track of the public computer sessions and the Wi-Fi sessions?
So a Wi-Fi session, I use Meraki. So I have a software that helps me with that, with reports for use. We can do it based on client or IP address, yeah.
I was wondering how.
Yeah, so that's for Wi-Fi. Computer sessions, we count, it's usually an hour per session, and we usually do a physical count of people coming in, and then I can also track that they use on the same system.
You have those blacklisted in URLs?
So yes, we do. Largely we do not, but we did a survey of other libraries for one system softwares that might come in that do us harm. We have those. And then, so we also have I think it's the children and youth protection. I'm forgetting the last letter, but there are a suite of sites that we are required to filter as well for the protection of our youth. Mhm.
And so drilling down just a little bit deeper, I think that some people think that it's just for pornography and other things that would be not appropriate for viewing.
Mhm.
But it's also that URLs actually, if you do a query, you can find out which URLs actually have spam and firmware and other things that are attached to them. And those are the ones that you want to, as you open them, they just automatically download it to your system.
That's funny you said that, because I made the mistake today of clicking on a link that looked exactly like a Three Rivers email, and I wasn't paying attention and clicked on a link. So I went through it and did the right things, scanned my computer, but we used Sentinel-1. Also scanned with that, but it looked just like it. And so hopefully from that scan, we can get the malware that came in and also block that from, it's easy to do.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Anything else, guys?
No, keep up the good work.
Thanks. It's a fun time of year. Thank you all.
Thank you.
All right, you have law enforcement report. Any questions for that? I'll say thank you for an amazing force, for all the extras that stepped in. The chamber rocked it. We had more volunteers than we actually needed show up. So amazing job, chamber, stepping up and getting all the volunteers here. Fire, ambulance, sheriff's office, DES. Our officers pulled some overtime to make both the parade, the 4th, and the concert happen. So good job.
Standing room only in this room here.
It was amazing seeing everybody just come to the call. So. All right, Public Works. Eric's still on vacation, so a couple more days of garbage, and we're there. I'll have to say thanks to John because our power went out, and then the low alert for the water storage went off because one of the pumps hadn't turned on. And even on vacation, Eric answers the call, and they problem solved it together and got us back so that we had our water at full capacity again. Got our pumps going, and nobody ever even knew it happened. But good job. All right, Susie, you're up.
So you have my reports. Kind of a quiet but busy month. I'm not sure how that all works, but we did have a jury trial. It went very well. The judge from Red Lodge was here. He was amazing to work with, and it was a learning experience and turned out well. So do you have any questions for me? No? It's the easiest one I've done.
All right. Clerks. Brenna, you want to go first?
No worries, I am good. I did not do a written report this month, but I wanted to just ask if you guys had anything that you wanted to hear back from me first and foremost, kind of thing. I did create a Commissioner Resources shared drive, so if you guys have anything else you want to see in that, just let me know and I can work on it the best I can to get it in there so that you guys have all the resources that you need to do this.
Thank you for working on the documents for the whites and other things.
Of course. Thank you. Any other questions? Thank you, guys.
So Brenna's been also helping out with our grant administration so that she becomes more comfortable with those, because as the paper released, we had ours for last, the MSEP that we received. So we're getting her more comfortable with being in the grant administration role. There's a lot of paperwork, supporting documents and everything else. So she stepped into that and helping us with the 819 for the growth policy. And she's going to be my backup for all the other training ones that are coming up. Ginger. Okay.
And you have my written. Any questions? It was a little rushed. I probably forgot some stuff.
Any highlights during the month that you want to share? Or?
Just continuing work on the budget. I think pretty much everything has come in now. And I am going to get out to you guys, like insurance is a big thing. So I am going to send you all the breakdown of that so you have that ahead of time and can see it. So that's property, liability, crime and fidelity. So I'll get those out to you. And a lot of the revenue that comes in from the state, as far as gas tax, et cetera, I'm going to include those in that packet as well, so you can see what type of revenue you're going to get. Nikki and I got to start on other parts of the budget Monday, so we just need to push through it.
Hi, I'm Lisa Roberts, and I have a question or a comment. On the June 13th meeting, the was brought up that the reconciliation had been completed and all was in compliance. On June 13th, I received a letter from Danielle from the Department of Administration, and I'll just leave with the final one, is that the DOA final determination, let's see, based on the foregoing pursuant to the MCA code, the department concludes that there is sufficient evidence to support the taxpayer's claim of violations of the requirements of the state of Montana Single Audit Act for failure to resolve significant audit findings or implement corrective measures for cash reconciliations as required by the MCA within a period of 2 years of applicable deadlines. So I was just curious as to where that stands.
So within that, we're in our holding pattern with Department of Administration. As soon as we meet their requirements of the deadline of the 20th of each month, then they will find that we have learned, trained, and now become compliant with the cash reconciliation. So yes, we turned in our last month's on time with $7.10, if I remember right, in our deficit. That was where we couldn't get it down to the zero. The month before, we hadn't had clarification that we'd asked for from the office multiple times on if we were, what was their range of acceptable. So we were trying to get it down to the penny and then turned it in late because we were trying to achieve that goal. Had we turned in what we thought where we were at 53 and some cents the month prior, but we turned it in after the 20th deadline because we were like really trying to find that last one, and it was in utility billing when we finally found it. So we're still confident that we can meet the next 2-3 months requirements and stay on track. The training program with the league worked out really well. Ginger learned a lot of new skills, so I think we're there.
What is the acceptable limit? Like under $100?
Pretty much. They don't give you a hard number. So when I talked with them, they're like, we weren't looking for to the penny. But within that range, we understand that, especially in utility billing, those $50, $76, those are the ones that are going to throw things off back and forth. So pretty much what a utility bill normally is was the answer that it was kind of getting. So what's your average utility bill? That's the range that they know that there's going to be some fluctuation, and try and find a consistent pattern.
So there's a range of acceptability for.
Materiality. It's called materiality. So basically, if the state deems it not material,
Yeah.
And that's within, they can change their materiality at the drop of a hat. So $7.50 is not material to anybody, honestly. So that should be acceptable. The letter I read stated that if you had an outage, you had to report why there was an outage and provide documentation related to the differences that you are working on. I think that's what we got in trouble for, was not providing those reports or that documentation.
Waiting too long to supply them with them.
Right. So the way I read the letter is anytime you're going to be out of balance, and a rule of thumb, I think that is that I live by, materiality doesn't matter. If you're off $7.50, you know what it is, but you can't fix it right away. You send it in with an explanation. We're off $7.50 because of this. And then there's no questions asked. So that was my understanding of the letter.
Yep, that's what our final
And-
conclusion.
Nikki, if I may.
Mhm.
Okay. After that, I talked to the state as well and nailed down completely exactly what reports they want so that I can be sure and include everything.
And where to send them. So we're sending them to multiple spots. We didn't realize if somebody's not in the office, it doesn't automatically kick the email somewhere else.
Is
It
that
just
really our fault?
sits, no, it's not. So again, League helped us and said, hey, put it all here and then they all have access to it and you're good to go. So thanks
And
to
I
Jody
also
and
wanted
Darby.
to point out on the same subject that during this whole time with the bank reconciliation issue, the state was unavailable to assist us in getting it fixed. We had several communications with them saying they were moving offices, and we're not available. And then they slapped our wrist. So it's kind of a touchy subject. The state's not helping us, but then they're going to condemn us. So I'm not terribly happy with the whole situation. Honestly, the state needs to be more helpful. It doesn't matter if they're moving. They still need to do their job. So my 2 cents.
Which is what I reported to the state, that they told us in January that they would do one-on-one training. They said, well, as soon as we get our offices moved, we'll make that a priority. Well, it was all the way to July and they finally had their office moved. And they did say that in hindsight, they could have rented a room at the library in Helena. There was other options that could have been explored. So they put that in the file as a noted that we didn't receive the help that we asked for originally. So lessons learned on both sides.
Thank you for that. Appreciate it.
All right. And the next is public comment on non-agenda items. This is your chance to say a comment for anything not on the agenda. Oh, I did skip claims. Sorry. Thank you. Sorry, Myron, we have to do claims. I missed one.
$1,400 in practice ammo,
Mm-hmm.
is that typical? Is
Yep.
that for a year, for a week, for a month?
For a year.
For a year.
For a year, okay.
Make a motion to come back to it while Commissioner Sully is still.
Okay.
reviewing, please.
Gentlemen, second agreement.
Second.
All right. All right, Myron, we're going to make you walk again. You almost had your water drink too.
I just have a question on the packets. There were 2 Town of Ennis public meeting policy summaries. And one of them was deleted, which I didn't understand why. But it's this one that I printed off is ensuring transparency, participation, and respect. But I didn't realize that they could just omit or delete any packets that had been admitted. It went off day before yesterday, or there was 2 packets on there.
Brenna? Did we put the whole one in and then, and,
I saw two at one point as well.
You have to be careful. If you click on one and go back, it opens another one in the OneDrive.
Oh, really?
so we linked them.
They were just, there's only one day.
There was only one when I looked, but I'll double check on that.
There's only one.
There's only one policy
It
that's
was
valid.
complicated.
We just tried to do a bullet point to make it shorter so that you weren't like, I'm going to read this whole book and then go for it. Right. Abridged version. The footnotes.
I'm Gail Tabor. I don't know if this is on the agenda or not, about the government study. Are they gonna do a
The
presentation
LGR is
of
on the
anything tonight?
LGR is on the agenda tonight for an update.
Okay, so I have to wait until,
You should wait. It's on the agenda.
I'll wait.
Hey guys, sorry. It's my first meeting, so maybe you've been over this before. I'm Darcy. I'm just wondering, so is the town paying someone for IT and website work?
Yes.
And is that wage based on how much time they're putting into it, or is it a salary?
It's time put in.
Okay, just wondering, because the town website is real bad and 1 to 4 years behind on things. For instance, I was trying to find the budget documents. They're not there. Meeting time for this meeting says 7 o'clock because it hasn't been updated since like 2002 or something. What? 2014. Okay, so yeah, I was just wondering if that was based, if someone was receiving a salary regardless of time put in, or how that worked. So thanks for that, and let me know if you need a hand. Happy to help out.
Last call for public comment on non-agenda items. All right, are we back to claims?
Yes,
We have a motion.
motion.
Second.
I have a couple quick questions. Yeah. So we internet installed in the public works office. Is that completely functional now?
We have to insulate it. Eric's working on it. He's doing some constructing so that we can insulate it.
Okay. Well, we got an air conditioner for him and I
It's
see
progressing.
internet and all that. So
It looks like it's going to be a command center in there. I've never
Okay.
seen so many little blue boxes.
I can't find it at the moment. Oh, that's
Okay.
just clarification.
All right, any other questions? Then I think that we're at Mr. Nehan. Oh,
Aye.
Aye.
all right, claims are approved. Skate park, you're up. Give us what you got.
Hi. So, for our funding, we have Jeff Ament has given us $50,000 to start off, but we have about $16,000 in donations towards us. Our current estimation of the building budget is around $324,000. We finally have our design done, which you guys have been given. It was made by Danielle from DreamWorks. If you remember a little while ago, we had talked to her and planned an event down at the Ennis Lions Club Park. And we talked about the location of the park, and we honestly just wanted the community to come in and give their input and advice of what they want in the park, so it can be for the community, you know.
The park is going to be located in the northwest corner behind the um, softball fields, and on the left side of the road. It's spaced 20 feet from the road to protect civilians and people going on strolls back there from loose skateboards. And then it is also 20 feet away from the sewer pipe if it needs work done on it or inspections. We left plenty of room for that to be done. Um, um, we also are incorporating a fish design in the bowl to keep the Ennis spirit. And I think the overview is on like this page, and it is the fish. Um, we designed our park to incorporate the skill sets from beginners all the way to advanced skaters. The specific obstacles and like skate park stuff that you would skate on are specifically meant to where you can build your skating level up slowly but surely. You can use the same obstacles for harder tricks over and over, so you don't need to go to a different town to get a harder park. You can just do it at our park and just do a harder trick. Um, we have one question. Do we need to raise the park up for the flood pool, or can we sink it into the ground?
It's a water table question.
Yes.
That's the one asking the question. What does the water table look like? They can build up above ground as they construct, or they can dig. But that's kind of a big question we have right now.
When was the
My
last
first
study on all
thought,
that?
I was
Does
gonna
anyone
say, my first thought would be your engineers that are working on your plans would have that information for you.
Right, they just weren't sure if you guys had a preference. And then the other thing was, what kind of drawings you guys would like. Obviously, this is just a digital drawing, it's not the exact specifications. The question is how finite you want those, and if you want us to have, like, is this okay? Do you want us to have architectural firms draw them up? And that matters, just do what budget. You know, I don't know what to say.
The folks that designed this for you, did they provide you with the drawings on that?
They're not gonna do them until we have it approved.
Oh,
So we need to have this approved. They usually, the way that they work is they do construction drawings. And they said in one or two instances ever, there have been towns that have required like elaborate stamped engineered drawings. Can you guys hear me over there?
Well,
I can't hear you online.
They can't
Oh,
hear
they
you
can
online.
hear me online. Oh, okay. I'll repeat what I said. Most of the time, the drawings that they put together suffice. There have been a couple instances where towns have wanted expensive, elaborate, stamped, engineered drawings, which adds significantly to the cost. So they asked us to put forth that question to you guys in terms of, what is sufficient from a town perspective.
And yeah, I think we just need to figure out, we know that where we're building it is out of the flood zone. That's why we're building in that location. We don't know, how far you go down and hit water. That will determine, whether this is a skate park that is built up, that sits on top, even the bowl. A lot of skate parks, they dig down, the bowl goes down into the ground. So we don't know what we're working with, and we need to find that out.
I think the important thing is that if you're going to put it in the ground, you should probably have geological engineered drawings first.
Yep.
So that we can understand the geology there.
Yep.
If you're going to be on the surface, I think that you can actually minimize what the sophistication of the architectural drawings would be. But
that makes
for
sense.
sure, if it's going to go on the ground, the other thing that I probably would like to know is that do they have a list of communities that have put them in the ground and the others that have put them above the ground? And what the experiences have been, especially geologically, because I know that sometimes when you put something in where there's actually the possibility of water pressure building, that it actually can push the whole apparatus up out of the ground.
Right. And that's really important for them to know, because they're not going to put something in the ground if there's any risk of that. It doesn't make sense. Then we have lots of repair and costs down the road.
When did the town do any last surveys or topos or anything like that on this property?
We've never had any kind of geological in that section of the park. All of our hydrogeological have been like well production studies. We've never done an engineering study of the park for that.
Closeness to the river.
Yeah, and as you dig down in there, you're getting more water and you could actually hit a vein or something that's going to go in there that's going to cause more repercussions and other stuff too. Yeah, so that is just something, the pressure, the water, that's way above my pay grade. That's where you've got to have your engineers to do that,
Yeah, and that's why I think unless you're willing to go to the expense of doing the geologicals, I probably would encourage you to do on the surface.
Yep.
And I think
That's
that's
what I was-
probably in your best interest of
I
cost
agree.
and actually getting it done in a timely manner.
I think that makes sense.
But as far as the engineered drawings, I can't speak for everybody. I wouldn't need a set of engineered drawings that you're going to have to pay a lot to get. I think something similar to this, once you
And
get
the
all the other
mechanical
stuff,
ones,
would
yeah.
be sufficient
Yeah.
from my point of
The
view.
mechanical ones, if it's going on.
These CAD drawings are fine. If they could just give us some additional CAD drawings with measurements and other things on them, I think that is sufficient for me.
Leslie, do you guys think it's cool?
It's awesome. You guys have done an amazing job. I do.
We have a small but mighty team that works really hard on this.
What else do you need to know? I've included their, our insurance's only requirements for us to have liability at the end of it was just for it to be endorsed by the town, was that we need eventually, when it's done, proof of the firm's liability coverage. But you guys were aware of that, keeping it in the well house.
Is there any other questions?
Will you at some point be holding competitions here or anything to that? Generate revenue or?
Friendly competitions, but nothing that would put anyone at risk that we would hold.
I'm not thinking of putting it at risk. I'm thinking of something to help you to generate revenue, organized events, competitions.
We wouldn't be able to do that until it was built. So
No, you understand.
like it wouldn't help us raise money. We are in the developing or in the planning of many fundraising events right now. And those will be happening pretty soon. We just need to make a final decision on what those are going to be. We had a stand out in front of the library like a week ago on the 4th of July to raise money for it.
So maybe. Yes.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, and I'm thinking of upkeep in the future, right?
to that.
Yeah, you want
Never
to,
close that door, because you may wind up doing something. So
Yeah.
always say, it's a possibility. Yeah.
Thank you.
I do think actually there's people travel from town to town for the skate parks. I think this is gonna be, sorry. I do think this is gonna be a real attraction for Ennis, especially with the fishbowl. Everybody really loves the fishbowl. So I love that idea. I hadn't even thought of that, but the ability to have like friendly events, friendly competitions, clinics, right? Teach younger kids. I think there's all sorts of things that we could do. And it's a great draw, especially in the summer for like the farmer's market and other Ennis events. So there is a Bozeman skate park, one of the smaller ones, the ones that the kids really love, that's being bulldozed for a building this week, I think. So, and the other park there is not so great. So I think there will be a lot of people coming to this skate park, which is really cool. And Jeff Ament will come for the party. For those of you who don't know, he's the bassist of Pearl Jam, and he wrote our big check.
With a lot of his pro skaters.
Yeah.
So that's another.
so
So
for
it's good for the
maintenance and
town.
upkeep, that's the reason I mentioned
Mhm.
possibly doing some clinics, like you said.
Yep.
Some
Yeah.
tournaments and some other things that actually would draw people in. You may actually have sponsors that want to donate money,
Mhm.
I love
soda
that.
companies or whatever. So, I just throw it out there. The other thing that I'm curious of is that you're going to have all these different levels. How is that going to work if there are maybe a group of young people that are looking to actually use the intermediate section? Is there going to be a time period that someone can use it? Is there going to be some policing? Or do you think that's not going to be an issue at all?
I don't think that'll be an issue at all. It's usually like, because people do their sets, like you'll have a set trick or line that you're trying to do, and then like there's usually a place where people stand, and then they'll put their board, they'll drop in, they'll do their line, and then you skate back up to that, and then another person goes. So it's not really everyone's skating at once and everyone's running into each other. It's more of like a team thing, and then when you land your tricks, everyone cheers for you because they know you've been going at it for like an hour.
And just the final thing is that if it's on the surface, maybe if somebody could specify what the berm would be made out of, and how that's maintained and all of those good things, I think that would be helpful as well.
Mhm.
Please.
That's great.
They like. Do you want me to say like the specific type of concrete they use and like?
I don't think you
It's
need to
okay.
answer that right now. I think
Oh,
you're
okay.
going to come back again in
Yeah.
the future.
Yep.
So, just keep it on your scope that when you
Okay.
come back with drawings, that you want to establish what that berm would be made of and how it will be maintained.
Okay.
Please.
Thank you for your questions.
No, thank you.
Does anyone else have any questions? Thank you guys for your time.
Thank you.
Have a great rest of your day.
Appreciate all your hard work. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just have a question. So I think the last thing that we would want from you guys, we're going to start our fundraising hardcore. We're going to do like a bulk mailer. We're going to have a concert. We're going to have all our events and do all the things over the summer. So we just want to make sure walking out of here tonight, like we know that we don't have every question answered, but we want to make sure that we have permission to move ahead with what we have. So, we're doing it with the endorsement of the town.
I'll do it in the form of a motion.
Yeah.
Suppose. I
Okay.
think, at this point that you've established and that you've shown that it's a serious project and that I, as a representative of the town commission, endorse it and support all the enthusiasm that was brought to the community. So. that's a
Thank you.
motion to
Thank you.
move forward.
Yeah, I think you did every
Second
second
that
you told us y'all were gonna do, and you've kept up with it, and the kids have been very proactive, and I think it's wonderful for the community, so.
Who could not give you approval with a fish on?
I know. That was Darcy. This was Darcy. It's got to have a fish. It's got to have a fish. So, thank you, everyone.
Thank
All right,
you.
I'll call the vote so that we're all in the official, you got the official vote.
Aye.
Aye. Was that a play on words? You said the official votes?
Official vote.
And Commissioner Hardy wants to be the first person on the.
On the what?
You want to be the first person to skateboard on the fish?
Yeah, probably.
We're gonna make sure.
Oh, well, thank you guys. You can stay if you want, but I know you guys love public meetings.
Yeah, I'm gonna excuse myself.
Thank you.
Thank you guys very much.
Thank you. Housekeeping too.
They're hired.
What more could we ask for?
All right, next item of business is the proclamation acknowledging the dedication for our planning board members. So we've never done this before, but this was a brilliant idea, and I've seen how much hard work has gone into our current growth policy by endless hours from our volunteers. So Whit's the only one kind of hanging in there with us this evening. So I'll read our proclamation for our volunteer board here. Whereas the strength and vitality of our community are significantly enhanced by the selfless services of its citizens. And whereas the planning board plays a crucial role in shaping the future growth and development of our town, kind of on the edge of third class city. I think we're almost at that breaking point this year. This ensures thoughtful and sustainable progress. And whereas the members of the planning board serve as volunteers, dedicating countless hours of their personal time to attend meetings, review proposals, study zoning ordinances, and engage in a whole lot of thoughtful deliberation and surveys. Where else am I at? Whereas the dedicated individuals bring diverse perspective, expertise, and deep commitment to the public good, often navigating challenging decisions with integrity and a focus on long-term well-being of all residents. Whereas their diligent efforts contribute directly to the orderly development, preservation of community character, and enhancement of the quality of life for present and future generations. Now therefore it be it proclaimed that the Ennis Town Commission does hereby extend its deepest gratitude and commendation to the volunteer members of the planning board for their unwavering dedication, invaluable contributions, and exceptional service to our community. We recognize and appreciate the significant impact of their work and personal sacrifices made to ensure the responsible and prosperous development of the town of Ennis. With a little bit of sass in the back. But no, really, you can't say enough about this board and the expertise that they've brought towards the growth policy and the work that they've put towards it. Every moment has been deliberate, and it's fun to see even Great West get excited about being in the room with them, saying like, wow, we haven't had anybody this engaged. They've met obstacles and then went back to the drawing board, redid surveys to get a true picture of what Ennis needs to be or where it wants to be in the next decade, in the next 2 decades. So a lot of them are going to phase out kind of towards the end of the year, and I can't say enough about them for putting all that in.
Yeah. And just got a couple more words that the other members are actually traveling, and they weren't able to be here. And interesting enough is that when they're traveling, I don't think we've ever had a single meeting where everyone hasn't attended, whether they're in person or if they're online, and they may be out in Massachusetts or Vermont or wherever they may be. But the participation, and I have to tell you, we couldn't have appointed a better chair for the growth policy, because Whit is a taskmaster, and he keeps us on our toes and keeps us moving the projects forward and make sure that we get our work done. And he comes from a very strong architectural and legal background, so I can't imagine anyone that would have been better at that, at keeping us moving. And to your point, Mayor, Great West is extremely excited about working with this group of people. And they make it to all the meetings. And I can just tell you that I've worked with a lot of groups over the years, and this group is very special, very, very special. So thank you.
I'm gonna sign it, and then we're gonna get copies to everybody.
Thank you all. Thank you, Jim, and Whit. Thank you, anybody
Lyndon,
who's
Dave,
done
Dave.
anything.
Yeah, and we probably should mention who's not here, right? Yeah. Maybe we go to the microphone, because I think people should love to see this person that they want.
The chair of the planning board, Lyndon Seed, is not here, and then Dave Berriman is not here right now. But Jim is one of our members, and I'm Whit Neal, and we really, I think, come together as a group, and they step up. I mean, I try to keep everybody plugging away at things, but they step up and do what needs to be done, and that makes all the difference, at the end of the day. So.
And Mark Sixel was with us.
And Mark Sixel as well has been a key member, and especially in getting the survey done. I think that that was a big push that we really were able to get a lot of input. I think better than average input from the community. And I think that's going to help us in this growth policy project. So.
And you know why? Because they wouldn't say this is good enough. When they did the first survey, and they weren't happy with the results of the survey, that they didn't have a large enough demographic, they said, we're going to do it again. And we're going to make it much more friendly.
We did it again, but I mean, we were able to, combine, thankfully we were able to combine all the results and come up with, a solid representation of the community, and that was the goal. So
yeah. There's not a single person on the committee or in the past that was with us that doesn't represent some certain group of a community, such as architects, attorneys, utilities, business, just people from all different backgrounds.
Yeah, I think that's what's really good. We have a diverse group and have complementary skill sets that we really are able to draw from, and that has made it a stronger effort, I think, overall.
Well, thank you very much. We really appreciate it.
Well, thank you, and I appreciate on the behalf of the people that aren't here, certainly thank you for this proclamation.
Well, thank you all, and for especially when you just said to not accept it to be good enough. Thank you for caring enough about the town of Ennis to realize that we deserve as best as we can give. So thank you for that.
And all those conditional use permits and the public hearings that you guys held, it feels better to have another set of eyes on all of those. And you guys have done a phenomenal job being thorough with those before making a recommendation to this council. So
I'd like to thank the mayor and the commission for recognizing people for their volunteerism and all the hard work that they put into it. Because sometimes it's tough to do.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's tough to find time to do all the work that needs to be done, but they've done a commendable job. So thank you to the commission and the mayor.
Now on to not as much fun stuff. We're done with our fishbowl and our good proclamation. Now we're on to auditors. So Kurt from Olness sent us over his most recent contract. If we choose not to do Olness and Associates, I would like to ask for assistance in a request for proposal to send to other auditors. I know when Kurt was here, he said, let me know by the end of July because I have a stack of 46 requests on my desk. And if you're not one of them, then I will move on to one of those 46 and see if they will if they want to fill the slot.
When's the audit due? It says states it's not gonna start till March of next year.
Correct. June 30th, because we don't have a federal audit. We shouldn't have a federal audit.
And we
We're
did
not aware.
file for the extension.
We did file for the extension.
The extension gives us how many?
We didn't use it this year.
What do you mean you didn't use it? It's not due yet.
Sorry, it just came in.
The
So
ex-
the state did was submitted on time.
The extension?
No, the audit, your last audit.
This is for next year's audit. Next fiscal year's. Or the one that we're in right now, actually.
Right, that's what I was asking. When is this audit due? Next year. And with an extension, when would it be due?
That's what we asked for in our last extension. Mhm.
How long does it typically take them to do the audit?
2 to 3 days. Well,
In-house.
In-house.
In-house, yeah, but to get the report back, start to finish.
I would have to ask them what they put in their own offices. We send them a lot of information that they do in billings.
Do we have last year's engagement report? Let's say the audit started. And we got audited, and then you know what we got.
It was in April. Towards the
When
end of
did we get the
April.
audit report?
No,
I-
when the start.
It started in April. When did we get the audit report?
Just,
Just in July.
yes.
So it takes 2 months.
Yeah, they did. It was into the state and then they mailed copies here. But I've put in a request for a digital copy.
My concern is that if he's already got 40 on his desk and we have to squeeze in there, we're looking at 3 months again next year to get the audit
I think that's going to be universal with any of the
Yeah.
auditors.
done. So if he starts in March, we're not going to get the audit done until June, into June. So, I mean, that's pushing it really close to the due date. So I'm just proposing that if we accept the Olness and Associates, then we need to also state that we're going to apply for another extension next year, so we're not late. And we can't control them. So that's my concern.
Would they wouldn't be willing to put that in the contract?
They will not. I guarantee you they won't. Because it all depends on when they get in here, what they start doing and start seeing. That's what determines how long it takes.
So
But
file an
going,
extension.
just even going based
September
on
1st.
our prior year, it took 2.5, 3 months. So I assume it's gonna take that long again. Or we have to assume it's gonna take. Well, it's just.
For that, the town or?
We
The
filed
extension.
For the extension.
We file.
We filed for it this year. We didn't need it this year, but
It'd probably be wise to do it with anybody that you're
anyone that we choose,
at this point.
yeah. Especially if they're gonna push us out to March. Get started.
Does the engagement letter have a price on it?
The price is based on what Montana dictates.
Okay.
That we can have to pay.
Yeah, because I think last year was budgeted for $13,000 and we ended up paying 19,000 and some. And so I'm just curious as to how to rein in that cost, as so it is not.
Well, in here it says, our fee for these services is defined in the Montana Department of Administrative Standard Audit Contract. Our invoices for these fees will be rendered at the completion of the audit field work and are payable upon presentation. Doesn't have any information. We have to
Okay.
look it
So
up.
is it safe to say that they did work above and beyond the audit to get to that difference between $13,000 of the contract price than the
I'm not sure what the
$19,000.
actual work was. I wasn't privy to the report.
Mhm.
But I know that they have to prepare financial statements,
And
which is above and beyond an audit scope.
Okay.
And that's included in the engagement letter.
Yeah.
That they will prepare the financial statements.
Yeah.
Preparing a financial statement is not just printing the P&L.
Sure.
It also includes footnotes, and lots of calculations in the footnotes. It's for someone extremely experienced. I would
Sure.
not even take on this task. I don't do audits.
Yeah.
But, so we're not capable of doing the financial statements, so that's gonna be an annual.
Okay.
What else was done, I have,
The
I have it.
GASB reports.
the gas, well, that's, your reports are GASB anyway.
But there's additional ones.
Yes, and that's part of the scope of the engagement letter.
Yes.
Is to prepare
They
all
were
the
asked to
government
include
reports.
those.
Yes.
Prior, they did not include those. So
Okay.
they've been asked to include, make it all inclusive in their engagement letter.
Well, in every engagement letter, there's always a stipulation that if they find something, that time might be extended. Extra work costs money. But without knowing what that Montana Department of whatever states the price is, we're walking blind on what it's gonna cost us.
Okay.
So we need to look that up.
But Mitch, in their audit contract, they do send a set price.
Mhm.
The engagement letter is right here and the price is not in.
No, if you, in the
last
audit
year's.
contract, before you sign it, they put a price in there. Not in the engagement letter, but if
So they're
you,
asking us to engage them before they divulge what the cost will be. The estimated cost will be.
That's, yeah.
I can't sign this.
And in another,
I trust you.
yeah, and in another point of the engagement letter, it does say we have identified the following significant risks of material misstatement as part of the audit planning: segregation of duties and management override of controls. Segregation of duties has been an audit finding for more than a decade, and I'm just curious that they're identifying it as a risk and if it will be addressed at
Small
all.
town, unless you're willing to hire probably 2 more people in order to get segregation of duties, you're gonna have that risk every year. And most small businesses have that risk. It's not anything abnormal. It's not. It just means that they have to test more.
Okay.
Override of policies by management is a huge risk. That one is not normal. And that problem needs to be mitigated.
Segregation of duties does not include cross-training then?
No.
no.
Segregation of duties means the person who writes a check, does not sign the check, does not reconcile the bank. The person who signs the check cannot write the check and cannot do the bank rec. All 3 of those have to be separate duties. That's why it gets very expensive. The same thing with money coming in. The person who bills cannot accept payment. It's to ensure that there is no risk that someone is running a scheme behind their books and taking money from the town or any business.
Two questions. So just so I'm clear, as a CPA, you're not comfortable with this engagement letter at this time?
I am not.
Second question, the audit that was just completed, I haven't seen that yet.
It just got here, John.
We'll see it within the next month.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what I was saying. I've asked for a digital copy to be
Okay.
sent. If we don't get that, we will scan this one in and get it out there.
Thank you.
Did we get the bill?
Yes. Well, we got the final. I believe you paid last month. the biggest portion, and then a final $500 bill, and that covers just the work they did when they got back to the office.
Is that in my expenditures today for the month?
This one for 500, I believe should be.
Mhm.
I'm remembering. Do you remember, Brenna? Yeah, I'm oldest.
So to clarify, what would make you as a CPA comfortable to sign this engagement?
I need some estimate of time spent or anticipated time spent.
Anticipated or, okay.
Yeah, because, and honestly, engaging them at this point doesn't mean that we have to go with them.
Sure.
It just puts us on their books as an audit client.
Mhm.
I didn't see anything, any verbiage in here that if we backed out of this engagement, there was a penalty. So I guess the real question is, because the auditors are so hard to get in with,
And the last one that
do
we
we go
looked
ahead
at
and save our
is
place in
54.
line with them, even though we don't have an estimate of time or
That,
cost?
that's where I was trying to go with this.
Yeah. But again, we look at alternatives.
If we can put together a request for proposal and send it out to some of the other ones. I know last time when we did it, we weren't looking at 24,000. We were looking at 54,000 when we got our, so it was a significant jump up, but I don't.
Well, just so the members know, anytime that you change an auditor, the first year cost is going to be high because they're taking over an audit that they've never put their eyes on. They've never seen anything. So they're walking in blind and they're going to dig further than this guy will because he's been working with us. He knows what to look for. That's just that.
But that's kind of due diligence, right? Isn't there like a standard time frame every 8 years that you should rotate because of this?
There
deep
is
digging?
not, as long as the auditing firm is getting a good peer review, there's no reason to leave them. Audits are very structured and they have checklists that they have to check on. So it's not like somebody coming in here can go, oh, I'm just going to forget about that and walk off, because the peer review tells us that once that field person goes back, their superior is going to look at them and say, well, where's this? And if they don't have it, they're going to be right back here to get it. So they have a tiered structure of reviewing their auditor's work. So, and there's a peer review letter in here that states that they're fine. I don't, there's really no reason to change an auditor ever unless there's an issue with their peer review. They're required by their license requirements to be independent, which means they come in and they can be friendly. But when they sit down to do their work, they're not thinking about who did this work. They're just thinking about, is the work done right? Yeah.
What threats would we have if we signed this engagement letter now? They sent us the contract and it was for $100,000 and
We don't sign the contract.
we don't sign the contract, we go find somebody else.
So we're saying we'll just engage with them and initiate to be able to get this price.
We
Get
just save
some
our
estimation of-
place in line.
Save our
Yeah.
place, and then they send an actual, the full contract with the pricing.
All right, so I'll move to sign the engagement letter with Almus.
I'll second.
Any public comment?
I have just one question. Is there any benefit to doing an RFP and posting it and giving this like 45-day period?
I don't see any harm. No.
I just think that you could write a really good scope if you're willing to, and that we could get an RFP out there.
Oh,
and
the
we
scope
could-
is written for us.
Yeah, right. Well, I think I'd like you to fine tune it.
Oh, okay.
And I just think that putting an RFP out there and maybe having it ready to go by the next meeting, if we can vote on it. If we have a meeting between now and the next monthly meeting, then we can vote on it then. and then give it a 30, or 15-day period, a 30-day period, whatever Commissioner Abernathy recommends.
Do you-
Sure.
You mentioned that there's 40 on his desk right now, and he's looking for the first few to fill the slots. His available slots out of those 40.
Those are 40.
New
He's
ones.
already filled a lot,
Uh-huh.
but he gave us until the deadline that the mayor talked to him about. And then, I mean, if we aren't going to, then he's going to get into that pile of 40 and take on other clients.
What was the deadline to respond to this letter?
He wanted to know by the end of the month.
I mean,
That's not enough.
we could still do an RFP with the scope, and sign with someone else if they come in cheaper. We know what this guy is gonna, pretty much.
Like
If
you
it's
said,
incrementally going up $5,000 a year, I think we're being taken advantage of, because if there's no extra work being done, there should be no extra costs involved.
I think you said this is not, right?
It's not binding.
Right. I mean, it's a non-binding. So.
Yeah. I say we sign it. If we want to look for other people, great, but at least we got our foot in the door with this.
Yeah, with somebody.
Yeah.
Maybe-
But
With
we
the
need to get the
extension.
RFP out
Right.
ASAP.
I'd like to maybe make a friendly amendment to the motion that we do an RFP of a 45-day window.
There's only one other firm in the state doing this. Right?
No.
The state has a list, I believe.
If I could pull it.
Certainly.
Actually, I looked it up. There's at least 25 names.
Yeah, it was like, there's more like 20
And
on
we
there.
would mail the RFP, or we would
We can
contact them and tell them with
directly.
the RFP, we can send it to them and they'll be more than interested to respond.
Did you get
I'll
that motion
second.
corrected?
Are you seconding the
Yeah.
amendment? And then we
I'm
go
okay
back
with
to the
that.
motion.
I don't remember where we're at. I think we're back to Corey. No, Sally.
Oh. Aye.
All right, that's,
You're gonna do the motion that way.
yep. And then the original, so now we're to weigh.
Aye.
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 Thank you.
All right, resolution 612, 2025, resolution authorizing participation in the short-term investment pool with the Montana Board of Investments. So we do these pretty much annually. This is that reminder of who can sign for the short-term investment pool and that we're putting our additional funds there for interest.
So we're already a part of this. We're just changing that approval.
Yeah, and then again in January, it'll have to be redone with the next signature card to it, signature names to it. So I think we already tried to put it on the calendar for next year so that it's a reminder that anytime there's signature updates. Yep. So we did this, I think it was last year. I don't remember.
Then you need a motion for this.
Yep.
I'll move to accept this.
Second.
Okay. Any public comment on resolution for STIP? All right. Then we are.
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Mayor, I'm gonna make a motion, if you don't mind, on the upcoming 2 items. I'd like to make a motion to take them out of order. I would like to actually take the one that is labeled F and do that before E. I think that it helps with the conversation as to the preparedness of moving forward with that particular article.
All right. Any objections?
Voting on the contract before it's presented.
Right. I want to actually table it,
Oh, I got you.
but it's in the wrong order, right?
In the wrong order to table.
So I made a motion to actually move them out of order.
Okay.
Take place F and replace it where E is and move E down to F.
I'll second that.
I think you made the motion, right?
Yes.
Yeah, he's second. Okay, yeah, we're good.
All right. Anybody have a problem with us rearranging the agenda for a moment? Okay. Then we're at,
Aye.
Aye.
okay. So now
We're good?
we're good. So we're going to contract first.
Correct.
All right. So Jim has been working very hard on a contract with the sheriff's office. I'll let him introduce that contract for discussion.
So I am not going to introduce a contract at all. I'm going to recommend, yes, I'm sorry. Sure, apologize.
It doesn't
That's
smell.
only for the people on the TV. And they probably don't want to hear me anyway.
You could probably shut the door too. You could probably shut that door as well.
It's so hard. No, I can speak up, not a problem. So I am moving that we continue the contract to the next meeting, whichever meeting that may be, because I went to the county commissioners. I attended their meeting a few weeks ago, and I asked for an extension of time. The extension was granted August 15th. Our next meeting, I believe, is on August 14th.
Correct.
So it gives us the ability to be able to present this at our August 14th meeting, and in good faith, be able to get back to the county commissioners by the 15th. The contract is not ready. There is a lot of conversation going, but the contract doesn't mean anything until we actually choose an option, right? If we choose option 2 or 3, then the contract will need to actually be there. But at that point, I would recommend that it be an MOU and not a contract. So an MOU is a non-binding agreement, whereas a contract is contractually obligated and can be legally contested. So a lot of work has gone into developing the contract, and the people who have been developing the contract to this point, Commissioner Way, the mayor, and myself, we have a 10-page document at this point that details what the law enforcement services will be, what the call center services will be. But it is, at this point, an unfinished document for the reason that I just stated, that we actually need to go through the process of all of us approving and signing off on the contract, moving that over to the sheriff's department, and the sheriff's department will need to do the same thing. They will need to agree to the content and agree that everyone is willing to sign if the commission approves it. So my motion, once again, is to continue this to the next meeting.
To table to future meeting.
Correct.
I'll second that motion.
They're changing the.
I understand.
We're tabling the contract discussion.
Yeah, just.
I think that it changes the conversation about the options and law enforcement options that we're talking about by moving it, and for people to realize that it's not a completed document. It is still under negotiation, and that until the negotiation is completed, you have nothing to vote on because we don't know which option we're choosing.
These costs that are presented
There are no costs in this document.
No.
That's,
So I didn't see
that, this is just the expenses in the wrong format.
So that's.
This is an unreadable format of expenses.
I'll tell you,
She put it correctly.
you know, I can share one thing, if you don't mind, is that right now, the contract is revenue neutral, so it's budget neutral. It will not increase taxes. It will not increase the burden on the community by any extreme number that will cause a reduction in services or any harm to the community or anyone to need to pay additional taxes. I can state that emphatically, and there's not anything in this contract that would cause there to be a tax increase. There's nothing to cause a reduction in services once again, and nothing to cause any harm to the community overall.
Is there any other comment before I let them vote, before they get to vote?
The contract be made available to the public before the next meeting when it would be considered to, okay.
Just to be perfectly clear, this is going to be a very transparent process. No one wants to hide anything. No one wants there to be suspicion that certain things are happening. So if you hear rumors, they're rumors. I once was part of a 6,500 person organization. Corey was in the Navy. I don't know who else served in the armed services, but rumors are always out there, and you're taught to never listen to rumors, and I don't listen to rumors, and I don't engage in the conversations about them, and I'm promising you that this will be completely transparent.
Okay,
And especially
thank you.
transparent to you, because it's very important to you.
Yeah, it is very important to me, and I thank you for that. And I guess I wasn't basing it off a rumor; I was basing it off the agenda that was printed.
No.
So,
just threw that out there as a
yeah,
safety
yeah.
statement.
Thank you.
We're 100% on transparency for this.
Thank you for that. I appreciate it.
All right, then I am back to, oh, where am I at?
Aye.
Okay.
We'll have to pass around a cap.
I know, I need a marker. All right, now we're going to go to the presentation regarding law enforcement options.
I first would like to say I've read this over several times, and my mind immediately goes to numbers. And there's no way with me looking at this document the way it is right now that I could vote on it right now, because I can't tell how much it's going to cost us, any of these options. Because you're looking at possibly getting a grant. Phase 1, possibly getting a grant. Phase 2, adding a police officer, and then paying an hourly rate for primary support from the sheriff, with a promise that EPD will try to be primary. But with adding an officer, you're adding all kinds of expenses other than just a wage. You're adding a pension expense, you're adding medical expense, we've got to buy a car. And then all the maintenance and repair that has to go along with that additional car.
Training ammo.
Training, yeah, you brought that up, I wrote it down. Training ammo, there's just everything goes up, everything. Even buying the stickers for the car that got crashed, that was $600 we paid for it. We got to pay that again for another car. So without me running numbers, I'm not comfortable voting on this. I don't mind discussing it. I'm not comfortable voting.
I would like to discuss it, but I will not be voting on it either. I don't feel like I've been prepared enough or have enough information to make an informed decision about it, to be honest with you. But I would like to know, I would like to discuss it and know more information about it.
I don't mind running the numbers. I have no problem doing that. She sent me the benefits numbers. I've got that. I would just need to know starting pay for a new officer, how much the car is going to cost. What is the fixed monthly rate in phase 2? And then there's another fixed annual fee in option 2 of phase 3. Those numbers are left out. And that leaves me the same thing that the problem I had with Oldness's engagement letter, it doesn't have any numbers in it.
Yeah.
I agree. This is very rough. If rough might be the right word. At this point. I think it was just it's been a long time coming. We haven't had an agreement with the sheriff department in several years. And Commissioner Dehan's been working very hard at this, and I appreciate that. And we wanted to start the discussion and get something in front of you, whether we end up with option one, option two, whatever it is, or a combination of 1 and 3 or whatever, wherever we end up. But this was I think his first shot to get it out there and to start that discussion. And I don't think we're voting on anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
wouldn't
I
expect
appreciate
that.
the options. It's more than
Yeah.
we've had before. I really do, and I appreciate all the work you guys put into this. I'm not at the point. I'm glad to discuss what's on these 2 pages. But as far as a benefit versus cost, it's our duty first to our taxpayers, and we can't blindly vote on something. I can't do it.
I think it's just the way it's, worded, discussion and vote, that it got a lot of people thinking, oh, this is going to be voted on today. And
Well, yeah, it should have just been discussion.
Can I?
No, we're not. No,
No.
we're discussing agenda item, which is the presentation of the options.
And let's discuss the document first, because the document's important.
Yeah.
The document was to generate a conversation with the sheriff's department. This document was not necessarily meant for the commission to sit here and approve of exactly what you have in front of you. So many months ago, Commissioner Wade, myself, and the mayor were commissioned to negotiate something with the sheriff's department in both support law enforcement and with call center. Call center being, I think, the most urgent to us because that is something that is coming to be terminated in the extent that anything that is outside of the realm of an emergency can actually be called off, if I'm not mistaken. And so this document was not necessarily intended to generate anything other than conversation with the sheriff's department. And then after having a conversation with the sheriff's department and putting some numbers in place, and we have numbers, but the problem with the numbers is that it's contingent upon the contract, right? So the sheriff's department has agreed on the law enforcement piece. The call center piece is a little bit more ambiguous, but Commissioner Way has attended 3 of the meetings with the sheriff's department with me. The mayor has attended a few. I had the meeting with the commissioners and with the sheriff and the undersheriff. So all of that was information gathering and negotiating to the point of putting together the numbers that we currently have, which actually will appear in the contract. They're in the contract right now, but they're in the contract that needs to be reviewed and negotiated and finalized. So option 1, just to explain it real quickly, the COPS grant has already been applied for. I believe the submittal went in on the 23rd of June. And there were 3 letters from this particular group that were provided that were support letters. The mayor, myself, Commissioner Way, of the COPS grant. And to take number 1, option 1 and option 2 and to put them side by side, there's not any difference in option 1 and option 2 if we don't get the COPS grant. I mean, basically what happens is that we're status quo with what we currently have and what we currently do. And whether that is the case or not, we still need to have a law enforcement agreement with the sheriff's department. We need to have a call center and dispatch agreement with the sheriff's department. Those are required. They're going to basically cause some level of disruption to services if we do not do that. So this is just an attempt, not an attempt. It's meant to pull the sheriff's department in the town of Ennis together to basically come to an agreement as to if we do get a COPS grant, then what it does is that it provides additional law enforcement services. It actually gives better coverage for the community. And when we propose the three options to individuals, meaning the sheriff's department and our group, option one was the option that everyone chose. And the reason why we needed to have consensus on that is that there was not any sense in putting in a grant application for the additional police officer if we were not going to vote in approval of it.
Consider it anyway.
Right, exactly. So option one, if option one is off the table, then there was no sense in doing the COPS grant. But there was consensus that we believed that we could take it across the finish line, so that we agreed to allow the COPS grant to be submitted, and moving forward with option one if it met the approval of the entire commission and the community. So,
And to be clear, the COPS grant's only 25% success on that.
correct. Yeah.
So
For
we're 75, yeah.
4-year period.
Yeah.
Yeah. So to put it into perspective, we have 1 and 2 that are very similar. As a matter of fact, they are the same if you don't get the COPS grant. And the COPS grant, basically, we will know who the recipients are in October, but we don't have until October to have an agreement with the sheriff's department on both law enforcement services and the call center. And option 3, to me, is a non-starter. For me, I'm not speaking for anyone else. For me, it's a non-starter, because basically what it's doing is it's really discarding the safety of the community, because we have a sheriff's department that needs to cover an entire county with a certain number of deputies. And I would not feel comfortable knowing that we or anyone else in the county is at risk because we have the closest vehicle that is not in a life-saving situation to get here. So I think that doing away with a police department, once that you have put all the work into establishing it, and that you have 2 officers, and I think that to have a former sheriff as someone who is actually acting on behalf of law enforcement in your community, actually just strengthens our ability to be very good at law enforcement, community policing, proactive policing, because that's what policing is about. Policing isn't about wanting to give people tickets. Policing is not about wanting to arrest people. Proactive policing and community policing is about making sure that there is a level of communication between all law enforcement within the community and the community itself, and making sure that the community is safe. I can answer questions. I can add additional information. I'm not here to ask anyone to vote on anything if they're uncomfortable voting on anything. I'm here to offer information as to how we get from being at risk of losing a certain level of law enforcement services and dispatching services to today, where we're trying to negotiate that and have it completed by August 15th.
First of all, I'd like to make a statement that I think option 1 reads like a Ponzi scheme. The rest of it, I want to remind you, Ennis is less than a square mile. Little over 1,000 people. We have 2 officers, but we still have the sheriff's department as 12 hours of shifts at night. We got 4 deputies that live right here in Ennis. My other problem is, on that one sheet, it said that you go from X amount of time in the morning to bar closing. Bar closing is at 2 o'clock, so does the officer get off at 2? I mean, that makes sense. The drunks are just driving out and he's going home. So there's so many things wrong with that. And I understand you're still working, but my God, I did read the sheriff's sheet, and there's eliminated that were omitted in the agenda packet, the 3B. And if you take the police budget, take the vehicle insurance, the health benefits, and do away with them and pay for the sheriff to add on for deputies, we'll be paying less in taxes than we do with 2 or 3 or 4 police officers. And then how many calls do they get? They get 2 calls a day, 2 officers. Wow. Is that getting a big bang for our buck? That's crazy. As you're out, and I understand you're not out here to give tickets. 9 speeding tickets in 31 days. I go by the hospital and get my door blown up with 9 people or 9 cars, whatever you want to. I mean, that whole issue is really you need a whole lot more than just 1 month to work on it, because that's crazy. Thank you.
I have a question. The COPS grant, what does that grant cover? Is it all these items listed down here? Or?
I believe it just covers salary, right?
Correct.
Covers salary and some of the training and some of the other.
Training and salary.
Benefits? Any of the
No,
benefits?
I don't think so. For 3 years, correct?
4 years.
4 years.
I would just, Myron, if you don't mind, I'd just like to answer one thing that you asked about. And you mentioned that there are not enough calls in town to be able to justify it. Has anyone put any thought into the reason why there are so few calls? Is that there is a positive police presence in the community, and that people see that, and that it's a deterrent to people actually wanting to commit crimes in the town of Ennis?
I think it was actually a good thing to hear that there was only, those amount of calls and those amount of speeding tickets. I mean, we can look at the glass half full on that way too, not just half empty.
Yeah, I see it as a positive, that it means the community policing is working.
Something's going right.
And spending time really walking through the community and meeting with the business owners and other things is important. And for people to see police cruisers actually patrolling the streets all day long and into the evening is equally a positive.
I'm sorry, Jim, but that's not exactly correct, because if our calls are staying the same, the sheriff's calls have gone up 30% to Ennis. So the sheriff is picking up 30% more calls coming to Ennis, where our police department is maintaining status quo. Isn't that what he told us?
That's not assuming that there are sheriff's personnel in the community that are witnessing crimes happening, whether it be speeding, motor vehicle, or whatever, that they are equally engaged and maybe engaged at those hours that are important. So I think another thing that Myron mentioned is that they're covering 12 hours, right? And they're covering 12 hours that probably are not the best 12 hours of what need to be covered. So to Myron's point, again, that when the bars close, obviously it means to extend past making sure that all of the vehicles are off the streets and all of those important things. So Myron's 100% on with that we don't want to just go home when the bars close, because now we have people that are possibly intoxicated. But that's when the sheriff's department is covering the community, right? Mm-hmm. And those are the hours of the most need. So to me, those are the hours that if we have the COPS grant and we have the additional officer, then we have the ability to be able to actually cover those periods and really become more of deterring the crime of happening and people of drunken driving.
Where does the time that the officers spend at the school, like before we were having the school resource officer, would that take away from it at all if we went with option 3? I mean,
We currently don't have an agreement.
I know we don't have an agreement, but I mean, does he still go over there to the school like he was doing?
Oh, he's still doing it, I'm sure.
Yeah, you know, because I mean, if we don't have that, we'd have to pay someone to do that.
No,
Or
the
either
school-
not have a
the
school.
school.
The school would pay.
And the school is
Okay.
seeking a contract with the sheriff's office as well.
I mean, at the end of the day, let's sort of separate the two things though, right? Because every state has some type of officer that goes into the school and spends time, because that's just proactive policing. That's having a relationship with the young people before they actually decide to go in the wrong direction, right? So in Massachusetts, it's called the DARE program. So, you know, I mean, those types of programs exist every place. And I think that they're very important to fund those types of programs because you want to basically be able to catch the crime before it happens and have that relationship that people know that you're there and that you're watching and that you will prevent those things. I'm sorry, I know you've been saying that.
You mentioned that the policy of policing is to build community involvement and communication with other agencies. If that's the case and it's been happening so wonderfully, how come this MOU has been expired for almost 3 years?
I think there is multiple reasons that the MOU is not signed, including that there was a serious relationship problem that happened between crossing of letters between the two different agencies. And that there were some things that probably most people would have wished they hadn't said, but they were said and they were in writing. And they prevented people from wanting to reach the terms of the MOU. And let's look back at the origination of that MOU when there was double taxation happening. And that was rectified through the following years of the MOU. But once again, I mean, there appeared to be, and I wasn't here, so I can't speak to it. There appears to be, with me reading through all the documents, that there were just some things that were said and that there was not the building of a relationship, and that relationship leading to a positive MOU and positive law enforcement relationship between the two entities.
It's Lisa Roberts again. I just wanted to say thank you to both you, Commissioner Nehan, and Commissioner Way for taking this on. You heard my plea several months ago to take on that, and so I really appreciate the ability to explore all of our options. I've been wanting this for a really long time for the taxpayers and the residents to really have an open and transparent conversation about this really important decision. So I applaud you for taking it on. It's not a small topic. So I thank you for that. Like I said, the public, we need to debate, and to Mitch's point, we need all the numbers to really know that we're comparing apples to apples, and we're not comparing apples to oranges without knowing the price of either. So thank you for that. And just to, I have a little bit of history. When Ennis added the second officer, we used to have we used to have 1.5 officers for a long time. And then COVID happened and there was ARPA funds available, and it was decided to use ARPA funds, which is temporary funding, to fund a full-time second officer because it felt it was hard to find someone who just wanted to work part-time. So, and then the question was asked, well, what happens when that temporary funding ceases to exist? And so a levy went to the voters, and they were like, hey, for $50,000, we can get a second officer. For $50,000, we can get a second officer. And it passed by 19 votes. $50,000, I felt that was very misleading to the taxpayers because it nowhere near covered the actual cost. If you see our police budget, and I'm using roundabout numbers, it went from like $120,000 appropriated funds to almost clear to 240. No other department in the town of Ennis has seen that type of growth. And we're still not at 24/7 coverage. We still depend on the sheriff's office. And as far as the community policing portion, if they're good enough for us half the year, why aren't they good enough for us year round? And even last year, Ennis Police Department was gone for an extended absence. Madison County Sheriff's Office filled that void with no MOU. So they are committed to community policing. They would never let the Ennis residents hang out on a limb. They have our backs. I firmly believe that. And into option one, I understand COPS grants. Grants are great. The more we can apply for, the better. However, those are temporary funding. So what happens at the end of that term if it's 3 or 4 years? What is that cost? The town of Manhattan, which is a similar community to ours, although they are double in size and by geographic measures and by population. So that means they have twice the taxpayers paying for their police department. They have 5 officers. I called yesterday and talked to Pam. Their proposed budget for this upcoming year is $769,000 just for the police department. It doesn't cover court costs, that type of thing. It's just for the police department. So in 4 years, and then we have to add on inflation, health insurance goes up between 10 and 15% every year. We also add risks. There are 2 things that are really risky that, MMIA says all the time, what's really risky to the town of Ennis or towns in general. Sewer backups is number 1. Police department is number 2. So if we are able to explore option 3 and not only save the taxpayers money by still retaining excellent service from the county, but that also shifts the risk from our small town and our taxpayers then to the county. So that is another significant way that I would like to explore. Planning board members, you did a wonderful survey. And in that survey for the growth policy, you identified priorities for the town of Ennis. Water, sewer infrastructure, and managing growth were the top ones. And so if we are going to take, and I know that you're trying to make this budget neutral, but over time, it's just the way that I see it, unless we get continual COP grant funding, it's not going to be. So that is going to starve other departments and priorities of resources that we desperately need. Every conversation that I've had or survey that's gone out, maintaining small town character, water and sewer, managing growth, those are always the top of the list. So I just really implore you to, I know you said it was a non-starter for you, but maybe these other commissioners would, once the numbers are in place, to really look at them and explore the options. There are several communities of our same size, Superior, Joliet, there's about 12 or 15 that contract with the sheriff's office. And HB, just so we know, there is a law passed, this past legislative session, HB 333, that requires you either to have a police department or you have to contract with the sheriff's department. So we're now losing leverage because now we have to come to some kind of agreement or pay for our own police department in its entirety, plus dispatch. So I always believe we want to of course, we want to provide excellent service. That is what a town is supposed to do, is provide services for its members, but we also have to be cognizant of what we can afford. And that is because SB 260 already passed too. So there is a 8-year timeline that we are going to be paying additional funds for our hospital. and whatever else Big Sky throws at us. So I don't want there to be a perfect storm in 4 to 5 years that we've, said, oh, we're going to do it alone and we're going to have our own police department for a 1 square mile town. And then now we have to pay more for our hospital. We have the potential to pay more for our school. They've also, said that they want to defund our library. So we have some other things that is more than just in fiscal year 25, 26 coming down the pike. And I just really want to take all of those things into account. Thank you for the transparent conversation. And I appreciate the time for you to listen. Thank you.
I think just one thing, that in talking about community policing, I don't think anyone is saying the sheriff's department isn't great at community policing. I think that people put a great deal of pride of seeing sheriff's officers and deputies within their community. So I think that that goes both ways for both the police department and for the sheriff's department. And I think that when it comes to community policing, that when they do it together, it just is that much better. And I said in the beginning that when we offered the 3 options to everyone who we were going to have these conversations with, the sheriff's department said that option 1 was the one that they would prefer that we actually move forward with. And that working from that premise, that is the reason why we started working on a contract. But I want to be clear about the contract. The contract is interchangeable to option 1, option 2, or option 3. And that no one is here dictating to anyone what they should do. This is my preference, and other people have their preferences. And I plan on moving forward with what my preference is, because I believe it's what's in the best interest of the safety of the community. Once again, it's nice to see that the sheriff's department is able to be in the community and spend as much time here. But what happens when that they're overly taxed in other parts of the county and then they're unable to actually be here? I just know that I feel a lot more comfortable from my family being here, that they will actually have the police department available to them. And I think the one final thing that I just want to add on, Lisa, is that in talking about the term, the contract right now is penciled in for a 5-year term because the COPS grant will require us to do that. But after 5 years, you can decide that this just doesn't make any sense anymore, and we move forward with the sheriff's department. But no, it's not too late, because you have no idea what's going to happen with the legislature and what laws they're going to pass. I mean, who anticipated that HB 333 was going to be passed, right?
Yeah, we knew that one was coming.
Huh?
Everybody knew that one was coming.
But the point is that they can come up with many different legislations that actually force the hand of communities. They force parking spaces upon people doing building. I mean, we need to be realistic that things change greatly in a 5-year period, and that during that 5-year period, we could decide that, hey, this worked really well, and now we want to actually keep it, and we want to go back and do a new agreement with the sheriff's department, and here's what the new numbers will be. But the other point to this is, and I continue to say it, it does not need to be a contract. It can be an MOU. And at any time during an MOU, you can actually pull out of the agreement. It is not something that's bound by law.
Except for option 1.
Right.
I guess my other question is too, when you talk about.
Sorry, Sharon was here. Why don't we let her have her turn?
I want to thank you for the transparency, but I also want to add not only you, Jim, and you, but the fact that the 3 of you, the mayor was also involved in this, and say thank you to all 3 of you. And I know that it isn't something that has been just shortly. You've been working on it for quite some time to get it this far. And what you're asking, I think we're not understanding what you're asking. We're asking for you to be able to go ahead and and put this together so that it does make sense and there are figures and so forth. And we just stand here and waste time. But I want that all three of you get credit for the effort that you put in.
Thank you very much for that. And I think that what you raised is the most important point here, is that we don't have firm numbers. In the contract, there are numbers that have been penciled in from the negotiations that have taken place to date. And that with those numbers, that's where I come up with a point that it can be a neutral factor to the budget. If those numbers change, if the sheriff's department sees the contract and says, hey, I don't agree with this number, because there is one number that I, in talking to Commissioner Way and the mayor, that I said, we need to basically find a middle point for this particular number, this dollar amount. And that's what I did. I chose a point in the middle where it was shaving off equal to each of them and put us in a midpoint. And that's what the sheriff's department needs to agree upon. And it's what the commission has in front of them, Commissioner Way and the mayor, us, and that they need to approve that. And then what happens is that this document is sent over to the sheriff's department. And this conversation isn't something that happened over 1 week or 2 weeks. This conversation's been going on ever since that night that you were at the meeting that I said that we need to come to some type of resolution on this. And there has been a lot of fact finding that has gone into actually getting to the point that we're at. And the contract, although it only took about 8 hours to actually write, it probably took another 10 hours of doing background and research to be able to write the information that is within that document, plus all the additional meetings that happened with all the law enforcement that needed to agree to this. So, I would take issue with anyone thinking that this has been cobbled together in a very short period of time. It's just not the truth. This is something that has been worked on for many, many months. And April.
April,
right?
or was it May?
I thought that it was April, but
Yeah.
because we had a June 30 deadline.
Sure.
And,
Yeah. My only other point is, I don't know if in the contract, you talk about response, you can build in response time that the sheriff is required to, respond in that. I mean, that's why we're paying them, and to make sure that Ennis does not lose coverage. And I will have to say, when big incidents happen, agencies do come together. When we had a shooting on Hugo Street, it was actually the Forest Service that was there on scene first. So with EPD and the sheriff's office. So I think, when there are major incidents, we will be covered. So.
Yeah, thank you. And
Thank you.
everyone does come together when people need to work together, they work together because they're professionals. They're law enforcement. It's like I said when we had that meeting back in April. When you're in the trenches, you want to know that you can trust the other person that's in the trench with you. And with law enforcement, that's 100% true. And I'll tell you this one final thing, that I feel that we're so fortunate that we're having this conversation, that we have such a great sheriff's department and we have such a great police department. And that's my opinion. I'm not asking anyone to agree with me. I can tell you that the relationship that I've had with getting to the point of putting together this contract, it just goes to show that we're a very fortunate community, that we have two law enforcement agencies that are keeping us safe and doing that community policing. That really, I think, makes a huge difference when it comes to the numbers. I'm sorry.
Thanks for all you did here. What I'm hearing, and maybe I'm wrong here, but what I'm hearing is there a way that we could put together, I think in big boards, is there a way that we could put together a big board? Option one, everything on it, costs associated with it. Option two,
That's what I.
and stick it on the wall here for the meeting, and have all of the associated costs put to all of those options, and have it in front of us like that. Is that, I think that's what the public is asking of us. And I would like to, try to get that done for them.
That's what I
Yeah,
offered to
yeah,
do
yeah.
at the very beginning.
Yeah. And you're talking about a person who loves whiteboards.
Yeah.
And you've seen some of my whiteboard gadgets, so I think that whiteboarding it, I have even a better idea. We should just go out and buy some whiteboard paint. We should paint the wall. We'll make it just a
Yes.
giant
I
whiteboard,
do that.
and we can actually have it so that 5 years from now, we can look back at it and say, this is how we got to this point.
Now, that's just crazy talk.
Judges always hate it when
Glad
you
you said that.
Yeah. But-
graffiti their rooms.
I think that would alleviate some of the fears and the questions.
I agree.
If we could put something like that together.
We can definitely do that. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
I'm definitely gonna say that's where I'm at with it right now. Brenna was so gracious to put a whole list of capital improvement items up for the commissioners to actually look at. And then I also asked her if she could determine which capital improvement items actually were facilitated. As far as I could tell, out of, I don't know, maybe 10 items, only one was actually done. And I think that was the senior center. And I've got $750,000 worth here that were proposed in 2014. And then 2020, I guess, was this one, the wastewater treatment to improve the effluent discharge quality was one of them for $200,000. And then our stormwater issue that we've been talking about for years. So I think it's very important to look back at the capital improvements, see what has been proposed and where we do spend our money at. So yeah, back to bottom line on these three options. Would love if Mitch, if you were willing to help out with that.
Where are you seeing the CIP?
I guess I would just like to know also, what would it take for this to go on a ballot? Put it in the taxpayers' hands? I don't.
That, that was my next point. I mean, this has to be not necessarily a commission decision, a community decision. And until there's some sort of buy-off from a larger portion of the community, it's a tough decision to make, at least sitting in this chair. And I think that big board would help with that.
So I agree. And I think that's very possible. I think that the most important thing is, number one, let's remember that this document was not meant or intended for this group to sit and vote on the three options. It was meant to start the conversation and to build budgets and to begin the negotiations with the two parties so that we could actually get to the June 30th deadline, which blew past us. And that's the reason why I went to the commissioners and asked for the August 15th extension. Because at their June meeting, they had actually said that there wouldn't be an extension. I went to the sheriff and I asked the sheriff if he would support me submitting a request to the county commissioners. He did. He was very kind. He attended the meeting with me, as did the undersheriff. And we sat there and the mayor and I met with Commissioner Todd. And it was something that we did because we had a relationship with making sure that things would actually be in the best interest of all parties involved. So number one is that we can definitely put together the boards, but we need to make sure that we actually have the negotiations completed and the contract and some level of agreement with the sheriff's department. Because as I said before, that the contract actually fits into option one, option two. Option three is different. What happens is that the sheriff's department picks up all of the burden, which means that there is an annual cost or there is a per trip cost that we actually pay. And we've had all those conversations. The sheriff's department came back to us originally with three options. And the three options were what the cost would be for each type of law enforcement activity.
Correct.
And they gave us a cost for no NSPD and
Correct.
sheriff's office.
They did.
And it was $340.
$340,000.
I could be wrong.
I think it was 310.
It started at 280, and then it went to 310, and then it went to 340. So there are 3 levels of it over a 3-year period. And if I'm not mistaken, that did not include the call center.
Well, we wouldn't have to pay it because we wouldn't have
Because it
any.
would be working through the sheriff's department, right?
Yeah, so the 140 would be.
But that's with no NSP.
Correct. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right.
What is our call volume now
Our call volume for.
for local police?
Do you want like end of year?
Well,
What are you
a
looking
month.
for? End of the month?
Yeah.
Is in his report for our current
But
calls.
you can then, not use a winter month. You could probably use the spring when we got lots more people.
We can pull this month's. There were 73 calls for service.
And how many of them were within the time frame of somebody actually manning the phones in town?
There were 60 day calls and 13 night calls.
And how many?
60 calls during the day.
Okay.
And 13 calls at night.
And so is that cost per call? Sheriff does a 24-hour call center and they're not closing, right?
Right.
Correct.
Yeah. So the cost per call, and I'm not talking about coverage time or anything like that, just how we get police to an incident. Is when I pick up the phone, which I have one time since I've lived here, 2003, and it went to the sheriff's department, who was there in 10 minutes. 2 cruisers were there in 10 minutes. And they were great. I lived through the grant process, and I haven't been around for a long time, the grant process of getting the part-time officer. And he was also a great guy and doing a fine job, but he's gone. What happened to him? The grants are as fleeting as contract increases. So without firm commitments to how much this is going to cost when the grants run out and how much it's going to cost us for the vehicles and the health insurance and the whatnot. And if it's only 4 years and just like the part-time officer disappeared, this poor guy that's going to be hired for 4 years under a grant, he doesn't even get vesting, until 5 years, unless you are doing only a 401k for him. So the kind of personnel that you're going to get, it has to be just like every other job. It has to be enticing in order to come here. So I don't know about this third officer and the associated expenses outside of the, let's call it the initial period, which is 4 years. So I have no problem with the sheriff's department covering the town. I don't know that adding additional expenses for another officer is warranted at this point. And that's the way I feel about it. And any proposal for that should be on a ballot, so that we can't commit to it until you have, a firm commitment from the community that they want to spend the money for another officer.
I just wanted to clarify, Mayor Haas, EPD responded to 5 of the 13 night calls. If you check the list, MC, SO responded to the others.
I was just giving the total number of calls.
Right.
the call volume for the month?
So I would propose the following before we get too deep into exactly what we need to do. Number one is that we should finish the negotiations with the sheriff's department because we need to. We need to know what the cost is for all three options. Because if we're going to have a discussion about cost, then we need to know the impacts to the budget. And not just the budget in year one, but all the way up into the budget to year 5. And if you're serious about what you're saying, then we should actually put up poster boards to say, this is what year 1 looks like. This is what year 2 looks like. This is what year 3 looks like. Once again, remember that this document was written a long time ago, and that many things in this have already taken place to the point of applying for the grant and all of the other things that come with that first phase. So this is not a current or up-to-date document because it was never intended to be used for this conversation.
Yeah.
The conversation should have been around that here's the contracts, here are the 3 contracts, here's what they look like, and which option do they actually apply to. So I'm going to commit to, if you're okay with it, in the form of a motion, that I will make 5 blocks basically detailing what happens in each of the 5 years and what the costs are that are associated with it for option 1, option 2, and option 3.
Okay. I think we need to add option 4 in there as well.
MCSO 100%.
What's that?
MCSO 100%.
Yeah.
That's the only one that's left.
Yeah, that's the only one that's left. If we're really going to talk about it, let's just talk about the whole thing and break it all down.
The sheriff takes over 100%.
You abolish your police department.
Yes.
It's the definition of by charter. That's what it would be. It's pretty clear in the charter. Sorry.
So option 1, the contract at the sheriff's office, is it, I mean, over here on phase 3, it says it's going to be, option 2 is going to be a 3-year agreement with them. Is that? Is that the same with option 1? Just a 3-year agreement?
Option 1 is 5 years.
5 years.
So 1 year past our COPS grant.
And once again, we need to continue to say that this can be a contract or it can be an MOU. And that an MOU is something that basically allows you to pull out at any point that you want to. With option 1, you wouldn't be able to do an MOU if you receive the COPS grant because you have a commitment to receiving that grant and the obligations that come with that commitment.
For 4 years.
Right. For the 4 years plus the 5 years, because you can't receive money up to one point, and then after you stop receiving the money, you're basically going to cut the person loose.
All right, so with the COPS grant, anything for 4 years, but we have to commit to 5.
Right.
Okay. Yep.
All right. So we kind of interrupted his motion of board with 5. You made a recommendation of another option. What's our actual motion?
Mayor, I have no issues with putting option 4 up there. I mean, at the end of the day, we're talking about having a transparent conversation, a transparent process, right?
That's what I want.
So if it's going to be 100% transparent, then if you believe there needs to be an option 4 where there is no police department, Ennis Police Department, then we will put it up there. I will actually make sure that I put any information during that option of 4 as to what the consequences are as determined by the Montana
code,
state code, because there are consequences.
Yeah. but I think we need to have it up there as.
Well, then
as a-
everybody will have every option.
Exactly.
And choose what they want, or look at all the options and be prepared, I guess, to make the decision of what they want. But I agree with what you said. We do have to continue on with this. We can't just stop.
Right. And if we need to go to the county commissioners and ask for an additional extension, we can. I mean, they could just.
Or you do a
look back.
6-month MOU where it's like, this is where we're at. We understand that we have, at this point, costs that you occur on our behalf. So we are willing to pay whatever
To get us
there.
a little time.
And if you'd like to do a continuation, but here's our 6-month MOU that says, hey, we recognize the time that you spend and what it takes, and that you need some financial contribution to make this work.
I mean, just looking at the call center portion of it, right? I actually founded and managed a 140 dispatcher call center in Massachusetts for the MBTA. So, I know what it is to actually start a call center, and I know what it is to manage a call center. And I will tell you that the sheriff's department pays a great deal for the call center to keep the people of the county safe. And I don't think that any of us look at that very lightly, that I believe, and I had this conversation with the mayor, and I had the conversation with you, Rovia, today, that I believe that they deserve a certain portion of money to be able to pay for the calls and the dispatching that they provide to our community.
Absolutely.
And that, it needs to be, to me, at least this dollar amount, because I looked at their budget and I saw the number of personnel that they had, and that the basic overhead that they need to maintain, and that it comes down to that the number that I put in there, I believe, is a fair number.
All right, so we have a motion.
Yes.
I'll second it.
Could I, if you're going to talk about a contract, that means you're going to have to guarantee that you're going to have or get that third officer. If you have an MOU, you can work through, because you don't know how long it's going to take you to get a third officer. And if you sit there on a contract and then you expect taxpayers to pay for that third officer, that's like that we've got 50,000 in the budget for that officer that headed out, and it's still sitting on the budget. Well, with the contract, how are you going to put that in with the sheriff? You're still at 2, doing 12 hours. The sheriff's doing 12. How are you going to work that into a contract? So it's going to have to set back into an MOU.
Well, keep in mind that a contract can have many different features to it. And one of the features that's built into this contract in one of the sections is that by mutual agreement between both the town of Ennis and the sheriff's department, that we can actually open and renegotiate certain portions of this contract, right? And the very last section of the contract, it allows for there to actually be a withdrawal from either party from the contract due to a series of things that could happen. It could be that we are not providing what we committed to. It could be that we're not paying what we're committed to. It could be that the sheriff's department isn't responding to calls. Not that that would ever happen, but I'm just using as examples that there are features that are built into a contract that allow, number one, for it to be reopened and portions of it to be renegotiated, and there are cancellation clauses with any contract. The best thing about a contract is if you have two parties that agree to a contract, typically it is in best interest of both parties to actually want to have that contract. And an MOU just weakens the ability to actually have something that you're going to move forward with in a very serious manner and actually adhere to.
All right. Well, if it's that flexible, then it's not. I don't know that you could really call it a contract. If you're on a flexible contract, well, not the specifications.
All contracts have to have a cancellation clause and
A termination date, yeah.
Right. And they
Flexibility, I mean, could be enormous. And would both parties agree to that?
Yeah, I mean, it's in the contract, and we're going to find out if the sheriff's department agrees to the contract. And I will just tell you that the sheriff's department has been absolutely fantastic to work with. And that I think that Commissioner Way and the mayor can say the same thing, that conversations have been very open and very worthwhile to get us to the point that we're at. You know, anybody that thinks that something like this happens overnight, that you do this in a very short period of time, if you do a contract like this over a short period of time, you probably didn't do a very good job at it, and it probably is not going to work very well. I was a certified state procurement officer for the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. I was trained by the Inspector General's attorneys, and I can tell you that in contract law, of which one of the things that I was certified in, that these things don't happen in short periods of time and have any useful purpose after they're done. And I agree with what Mayor Haas just said, that what we really need to look at is that if we need to do an MOU to get us out to the end of the year, and then we have some additional work done, and we have an agreement through the community that this is the best way to move forward. Because once again, everyone has said it, it's a community issue. It's a community vote. Community needs to agree to this. Now, whether that happens because the commission votes on it or whether the community itself votes on it, I don't particularly care which way it is. I can tell you that if the people that have been elected to actually serve to represent the constituents and the residents of the community, if they have been given that authority, I think that they're well within their right to be able to vote on this particular process.
Yeah, I think you'll need to trust the people that you put into office or elected or didn't volunteer for yourself. If you're going to be on everybody's case every single time that they're doing something or they make a mistake, you know, little things get left out. People thought that this was being voted on tonight. I wonder sometimes how much of it's actually a personal vendetta towards the police department or issues that you personally have versus with people versus actually communicating with people and us working together as one group. You know, forget the say Republican, Democrat, or you live on this side of town, you live on that side of town. We're all Ennis residents. We all need to work for the benefit of Ennis. We need to look at the bottom dollars. We need to see what we can afford, what we can't. Where's the money coming from? If we get rid of certain services, we're going to pay for that somehow or another. It might not be in money, but it's going to be you're going to lose certain services. But I don't care which way we actually vote. Either I want to do what I will put my personal preferences aside, and I have done that before, and I will do that again, to do what you guys want us to do. You know, that is what I feel like that all of us should be doing, is trying to help work for you. But you've got to give us some credit and say, okay, you know, you need to be able to look at, like Mitch does accounting, you're at the Capitol a lot, you've got so much business background, Corey's a great singer and a sheetrocker, you know, I mean, we've all got some little talent that we put into it. And, you know, sometimes it does feel like that people are really, you know, doubting every bit of what you're doing. You know, so I think what Jim's saying, we've got to work together as one unit for this and not look at it as people sitting behind the table and people sitting in chairs. You control us. You pay my $125.03 a month or whatever. You know, so you tell me what to do. It's not what I want to do. It's what you tell me to do. And I'm willing to listen to everybody. And, you know, I think the rest of all of you too, I believe, feel the same way, don't you?
And Commissioner Sully, one thing, I mean, I think the one thing that we've all learned through this process is that we have had such a great relationship with everyone that's been involved in this process, including everyone offering comments here. I mean, no one takes anything personal here. This isn't personal. We're here to try to find a solution to a problem that we have, to actually come up with the ability to be able to have the community wrap their arms around a concept and to actually approve it and to actually put it into action. That takes a lot of work. And I think that the Sheriff's Department, the EPD, the mayor, the commissioners, just, you've done amazing work. Just remember we talked about breaking down barriers a couple of months ago? Well, haven't we broken down barriers? Aren't we sitting down with people and having good conversations? You know, I know that Commissioner Way has put it to a point that I think that you probably would like to, at some point, be the liaison to the sheriff's department and go out and have every 2 weeks, have coffee with them and talk things over and make sure that things are moving, that we're communicating. Corey and I are going to actually meet with the District 2 Commissioner for the Montana Department of Transportation in a couple of weeks. Why? Because we need to know people. We need to be able to talk to people. We need to be able to address problems. We shouldn't have to, for 3 days, try to figure out who the best person is to call if we have a hole in the road, right? We should basically be able to call up and say,
Your sign's sitting in the backyard.
So I'm sorry for talking so much. I hope that I've provided the answers to people that they want. And the answers are that we don't have all of the answers. And that after the contract has been approved by everyone, then we have all the answers and we can put the nice boards together and basically it will be at a glance, right? Because I believe at a glance, just like you do, that people consume information much easier and they understand it better. There's a reason why chalkboards are in classrooms, right?
I'm having trouble with words being used. We're going to approve a contract and then get the numbers, is what you just said.
No, we're gonna build the contracts for each option, make sure the sheriff's okay with the numbers that are in each option, make sure we're okay with the numbers in each option, and then build the
Okay.
giant mega board of law enforcement.
And it's based off of this. Okay. Okay. I think that's part of the confusion is the word contract is getting thrown around quite a bit and it's not being defined.
Nothing's going to be signed until we approve it.
Nothing can be signed until we approve it.
Okay, can you remake your motion since there was a motion and not a second and we kind of
No, I
lost?
seconded
Oh, did you second?
Yeah.
Second, you seconded it and then you said, and I'd like to do an addition
No, I
of
said
the.
that before. Before I seconded it, so I was
And
saying.
I added the fourth.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then with the second, we could go into conversation.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think adding option 4 gives even more transparency
Absolutely.
to our taxpayers that we are exploring every possible option.
Absolutely.
I don't think there's anyone sitting up here disagreeing with anything. that's being
No,
said, to
and
be honest
people,
with you.
people normally don't experience any kind of fear unless they've already experienced that kind of fear. So someone somewhere has experienced non-transparency or felt like they could not trust their local government. And I understand that. But at some point you have to also say, I got to let that go and I'm going to move forward with some trust. If you don't like it, run for office, volunteer,
Well,
do whatever. You've got
Okay,
to do
we're to the vote part. I'm sorry. I'm like.
I want to add one last little comment to that. These people are here to keep us honest.
They are.
And that is their job as a taxpayer.
They are.
And I appreciate every single one of you that come in here because you're showing an interest and you are making sure that the people behind these computers are doing the right thing for you, for your community.
100%.
That's all this is meant to be. So.
100%.
Yeah.
Couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah. Okay, now I'm ready.
All right, so we have
Now
a
we're motion in a second. Anything else from the room before I let them make their board of awesomeness? Okay. Now we should have had the thing because now I've lost one. Mitch. I think we're at Mitch.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Ooh, absolutely.
Hoorah.
All right. Public Works job descriptions. So we really feel comfortable with.
Exhausting.
Do you want a 5-minute like breathe? Do you want to run outside for a second?
I have to be in the car at 2:30 in the morning.
So let's move through it.
4:30
All right.
Yeah.
So
I'm gonna make 30 guide lunches yet. So.
after review of our Public Works job descriptions, Jim and I feel very comfortable with the revised ones, and we would like to be able to vote on those two, but not the Public Works Director. We feel that since
It's missing
so
a word.
yeah, the two positions that we really need to fill are the two that we've spent the time on, and we'd like approval for those. and then go back for the public works and director and bring a full updated.
Were those in our packet?
Those, they were in our packet.
They were from last time and you guys.
Okay, that's what I thought, but
They're there.
they weren't in the packet.
No, they're in the commissioner's.
Fine.
So two things, just to add to what Mayor House just said, that the two that we spoke about a few weeks ago and the cost model for those are ready. Those are ready to be approved. And the reason why those were so much easier is that someone has been keeping up with them. And that basically what happened was that Commissioner Abernathy and I went in and we updated them to everything that really brings it to current time and with the wage steps, right?
Right.
So those are really clean, but the commissioner position dates back over 25 years ago that somebody.
The director.
And then we're trying to rework it to look at where we think our system may be in 10 years too. Like currently we're working in a mechanical, this lagoon system. We know that we may need to go to a mechanical treatment. So we need to be able to write this job to be able to grow into the system that we may grow into in the next
And
10 years.
my
Does that
two
make
cents
sense?
is
Okay.
It's a director's position, so the accountability also needs to be written in there.
Correct.
And
so-
that's the one word I had a problem with. Prepares and submits accurate reports timely.
So
They have to be on time.
to be honest with you, I am just trashing.
We went through and went, no, we're just going to bucket this
I
and then.
just said that you can't go in and rebuild something that was broken when it was put together.
Yeah, sure.
You might be able to pull one line from there and go, oh, well, that one wasn't
That
bad,
one
but
worked.
we could
The
pull more
title's
from.
right.
Reports to the mayor.
Yeah, there was not a lot of good in there.
But realistically, I think that we're going to find that situation with many job descriptions. I don't think that we've had the ability to be able to stay with them. And I think that goes back to our conversation about really having a couple of members of the commission who work with the mayor monthly to actually go through the job descriptions, go through the cost models, and to make sure that everything stays current. So what I intend to do for not the next meeting, but the following meeting is to have a full-blown description after working with Commissioner Abernathy and the mayor to put it together that will prepare us for the future. So it will deal with current times. Maybe we get lucky and we get someone who actually is running a mechanical plant right now that actually has transitioned from the current type of plant that we're using, right? So what our hope is that maybe we can put in that the person should be proficient at grant writing, right? And that with that grant writing, we could actually provide a stipend and that person could do all of the grant writing for the community because there are some very talented grant writers out there. And that we may be able to take this and we can build this in such a way that it actually serves to the 5 to 10 year purpose of the community. So once again, the one that we have is being shredded and we are basically building a brand new.
Okay.
So what you're looking for, to be clear, is a motion to approve the public works job descriptions as written from the last meeting.
Correct.
For seasonal maintenance worker and utility clerk job.
Okay. I will move.
An operator.
And to accept those job descriptions as
Okay.
written.
And I will not second it because I actually participated in writing.
I will
I
second.
don't,
Okay.
I don't see the operator in here, just the clerk.
I have the operator if I need to send it there.
Seasonal maintenance, that one needs to be approved too, right?
Mhm.
Yes.
So there's 3.
Yep.
Seasonal maintenance, utility worker, and the operations.
So 2.
Operator.
3.
Okay.
Seasonal maintenance, that's the
Seasonal
lawnmower guy.
Okay,
Which is
yeah.
the one.
Yeah.
Right.
It sounds so
Sorry.
much better when it's seasonal maintenance, not
I know.
the lawnmower guy.
And a mower.
But all 3 of those, and then we can actually post the 2.
Yep.
And get somebody else here so that Mr. Nehan isn't doing garbage when.
You
Eric's
get to
gone.
see so many nice people out here.
You do. All right.
Corey.
I
I have to allow the room. Any comment before they vote? Okay.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. So I'm good to start putting
We
it
can
out
post
on.
those.
Mhm.
We can post and fill the positions.
Okay.
Hallelujah.
So the wage package isn't quite there, I think is where we're at.
Yep.
We're still good with the wages. We're still working on the actual price.
So we need to table that one.
Mhm.
I'll move the table with wage
I'll
package.
second.
So that we could put in the,
August,
yes.
please.
All right.
Aye.
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 Local government review update.
Sorry, Brittany.
Local government hello, thank you. LGR stands for Local Government Review. Myself, Brittany Hirsch, Kelly Elser, and Karen Ketchu are on the commission. On June 25th, we held a public hearing at the library. It was facilitated by Dan Clark, and there we had our tentative report. And so we went through the public hearing and what we came to the consensus, and then we had a meeting the next day. So we took the feedback from the people that participated in the public hearing, and then had a meeting on the following day, and our consensus came to that while our recommendation most likely won't change, that we will put some more work into the tentative report and into a transition plan. So it is a more comprehensive document. And our goal is to do that by the end of the year. So we will not make a ballot for this year in November. We could potentially do one on the June ballot, or we could have a special election or something along those lines. So that is where we are at. So.
I would like to thank you. It was an amazing open process, and I appreciated everyone that came and spoke. I think that I thank you for listening to everyone and hearing us out, as I know you would. But it really was a very eye-opening process. So thank you.
Yeah, it was our pleasure. So we appreciate the public participation. Gail and Sharon came in their former, so they had a lot of insight, and so that was great. And so yeah, so that's where we're at. So we are going to continue the process and to have something more final, like a final report by the end of the year.
Are you gonna have another public meeting when you have the updated final report?
Of course, yes. We'll continue to have any edits that we need to make and everything. That will all be part of the public process too. We took a little bit of a respite for the rest of July, and I think I would imagine that we'll have another public meeting in August and then through the fall. And those will again be all open to the public and all of those edits and changes. And so people are welcome to attend. So we will have a schedule out shortly.
June time to vote, they can still have until November of 2026.
That's correct. Our fine. So that would be the final deadline would be the November 26th ballot. So, but to get on that ballot, it would need to be done by July. So, yes. So that's where
Were
we're
you
at.
thinking of reopening any of the surveys?
We didn't discuss that at that point. That was a short meeting on
The day
yeah.
after.
So yeah, the day after. So yeah, we didn't make a determination on that.
That's all I had.
Okay. Any other questions?
Anything else for LGR? Local government review. I'll spell it out next time. You smarty.
Thank you.
All right, Commissioner Sally, you want to crack us off on commission reports?
Oh, yeah. I got familiar with where the local trash cans are. I got to spend some quality time with Jim, and actually it was kind of fun. We had a good conversation, and we even looked at the park down here and did some dreaming and planning and stuff. So the next thing is I've been in touch with the housing board again. I got a letter from Mr. Jim Jarvis, And it looks like that they are getting ready to begin to do something over here in Ennis. They are going to be doing some, and I think I've got this right. They're going to be doing 4 total, which would be 2 duplexes. So that would be a grand total, 4, 2 and 2. They're going to be doing that, I think, in Twin Bridges. And they're working with the school system to actually do that for their teachers so that they have some affordable housing for their instructors that they're hiring. Over here, they gave me kind of a big number. They actually put in writing, looks like 20 to 30 that they're projecting that we would need here. So that's kind of a big number. I attended another cohort, and it was actually this morning, was one of the cohorts through MSU. And one of the things that we can look at doing that I've been thinking about doing is a voluntary, sort of like our government review did for housing as far as what we need. Looking at our different demographics, looking at what the school needs, what's the hospital need, what do the people think that we need, all of those things. So that's something that they're looking at. And then the last thing is I had been looking into a little bit of trash and rubbish prevention, going to the dump. I know you've had a few people write about that and ask about that. So I've been looking into what kind of solutions can you do for the debris. As I wrote you the other day in an email, there is a lot of people that do recommend tarping it and covering it. You have a rule that if people are having to carry this debris, they've got to tarp it. Now, I don't like anybody telling me what I have to do, so I understand that. But we may have to look at it and say, we might have to go through some of this dark garbage and rubbish and debris and see where's it coming from. We need to see if it's coming from contractors. Is it coming from households? Is it coming from people that are just here visiting? Where is it, actually coming from to make those kind of decisions on it? Because, everybody doesn't want to be punished to have to take their garbage to the town and tarp everything just if they've got one bag of trash, So the debris that's flying out, that's getting into the cattle and things like that, is a little bit different, I think. So we don't want to punish everybody for just a small problem if it's just a small group that's doing it. So if anybody's got any recommendations on that, I'm your girl. Hit me up on the rubbish. And
I'll just make a recommendation. While we don't haul our trash here, we take everything, all of our customers' trash to the landfill in Logan. They have the same rule that you have to tarp everything because it helps keep their property clean. But the sanitation board ran by the county meets quarterly. They had one today, so not again until probably October, but they would be the ones to bring your suggestions to. The more they hear about the problems and the issues, the more they feel the pressure to manage that site, because there is no management. That's why it's a mess. It's open 24/7.
So thank you for digging down that hole a little bit more, but I'm to the conclusion that it's going to take a joint effort between the town and the county to solve it. We could make rules, but our rules are only enforceable to this line. And that's the sad part about it. I talked with Jim as we did all of our garbage stuff, and I want people to understand that are maybe not from here, because he says it's super clean. He's like, Ennis is super clean. And I'm like, man, it's so dirty right now. Like, what is this about? It's perspective. I'm not used to it being this garbage ridden growing up here. He comes from different spaces. How do you get people to recognize that it's beautiful now because of everybody's efforts on keeping it that way? And you can say it's somebody else's job all the time, but it's worth picking up if you want to enjoy it. Don't be mad about it. Just pick it up, do the thing, because it's worth the time.
I took a picture of the trash that was in the back of the truck yesterday, just by how much trash there was. And today there was more trash. There was more trash than there was yesterday, and yesterday was the heaviest day. But my point in saying that is that it just goes to show that the people who are visiting Ennis and living in Ennis are putting the trash in the barrels. They're not throwing it on the ground. And the mayor and I were talking, and Commissioner Sully and I were talking, and we're cleaning up beer bottles that maybe someone didn't put in the barrel correctly. And, you know, it's interesting that our DPW director is doing this on a daily basis every morning. You know, I hope that we can find some way to put an end to that, because as much as I enjoyed doing the trash because it meant that Eric could take a vacation, and that, I'll be honest with you, it was an experience for us to actually do it and see what employees are going through on a daily basis. It's like Commissioner Way said one day after he rode around with Eric and saw all of the water plants and saw all the pump houses, saw all of that. You know, you have a different perspective. You have a different understanding.
And you encouraged us at that time, John, to each one of us to do it too. I remember that. And I agree with you. I actually think it would be great if we did spend time with each department so we can understand each department, see what's going on, you know, and just understand how our town works.
We don't want to micromanage. We want to learn what you do so that we can make sure that we can help your job actually be easier for you to do, so that we can keep you for many years until you decide to retire. Because we know that having a revolving door of employees is not what we want. And, you know, I just, it's so funny. We were at Conley Park, and Commissioner Sully was talking about putting saddles on the swings and putting saddles on the seesaw and making it look like it's more country and making it look Western. And what a great idea, right? I mean, and the park was clean, wasn't it?
It was.
The park
I have to say it was
completely
clean. And that did come from not just making it look Western, but it came from functionality. I don't know how many of you grown-ups have actually rode the teeter-totter recently, but I was riding the teeter-totter a few months back with my granddaughter. And it is very square. It's a little bit rounded on the edges. It's also metal. They just not conform to your body. You know, it's a very, and when you hit the bottom, you know, you've got the little tires there to bump into. And we, you know, we could replace them, but anyway, it's not the most comfortable thing. So I said, you know what would be cool if we took and went through these metal and put a rounded piece on like a saddle, you know, and then put some old saddles on it, you know. And he was like,
Great
look at me doing
idea.
this, you know, but just, that's where that came from. So we weren't actually out looking, you know, but yeah, just, we thought it was fun. Anyway. And try teeter-tottering if you haven't done it recently, and skipping. That'll be interesting too. Go home and try to skip and see if it's not uncomfortable for you. Then you know you're getting old. Yeah.
All right, John. John, now you're going to follow up.
I have no follow-up to
You-
skipping, but,
It's a tough act.
yeah, pass it.
You don't want to try the teeter-totter?
No, I rode dirt float every day. That's good.
You said something about they were gonna put more housing units here?
Well, what they would like to do is the county hired Jim Jarvis a year ago to look into affordable housing. Now, when I say affordable housing, I don't mean like little mini homes or anything, just whatever's affordable is a big term. But so they were looking at that, and they hired him for 1 year. And he worked with several different organizations, ones like Trust Montana. I don't know if you know what they do, but Trust Montana has land maybe given to them or left to them or donated to them. And then they control that land. They keep the land as part of Madison County or Montana forever, but they might let an apartment be built on it or a house be built on it. And then every time that person goes to sell that house or move, they would still retain the land. They keep it neat, they keep it tidy, and they ensure who's going to come into it to keep the value of the property for everyone else involved around. They have appointed Jim Jarvis for a second year to fill that position again. So he's doing that, and they are looking and working in the whole. I know they were talking about that they needed to have some in Virginia City, some in Ennis, some in Twin, and some in Sheridan. So that's
My question about Ennis is,
where would you put all those houses?
because of the water shortage and the sewer shortage
Yeah.
and the electrical shortage.
Absolutely.
You couldn't, I mean, that was the only thing that I was going to recommend with what you said, is that the growth policy is actually going to be the driving force to help people to understand the facilities and the the infrastructure that's required to be able to add additional housing.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and we gotta take care of us that are already here and you guys that have been here forever before we focus on, bringing in new people and supporting that. But then we also don't want the town to die because we keep all of our old boomers and we have no young people either.
But the other thing that's happened is, at one point I heard 37% Airbnbs. People have come in and bought up and paid the high prices so that
That may actually be changing a little bit. I don't know if any of you are familiar with what the governor did a while back, but he's trying to make it so that the property owners, if you're a homeowner and that is your residence that you use, that over 2026 and 2027, your income, your prices is going to go down. Your money's going to go down that you'll have to pay. That's what they're trying to do by putting that over on these short-term rentals, because they're thinking that everybody that owns short-term rentals, or the majority of short-term rentals, may be a millionaire that's just come and bought them a cabin and they're getting benefits of that. And when they're not there, they rent it out. So what they're going to do on the short-term rentals is they're going up about 60% on their taxes.
Unfortunately, they're doing that to my fourplex too.
Okay.
That I have renters in that work at the hospital and
yes.
Yes, it's any property that you are not physically, well, that's not true. If you have long-term renters, the 68% does not apply to you. It's more like 30-something%. Can't remember the number. But if you have a long-term rental, they're living in your property for more than 9 months or more, then your real estate taxes go up about 30%. If you're living in the residence, your taxes go down. If you have an Airbnb that you do not have a long-term renter for at least 9 months, their taxes went up 68%. Their real estate taxes went up 68%.
And some of these short-term rentals, I'm just giving you information that I hear on the Montana Airbnb group. A lot of them will probably go out of business. People that say, let's say they had a nice home. They really didn't need it for hospitality income, but they have a garage or a little small home. And they thought, well, my taxes are going up or my kids are in college. I can make a little extra money here. And I've written that out. So the people that are probably doing it just temporary here and there, some of those are probably going to go out of business because they just can't afford to do it anymore.
Well, we have people in this community that were rented in the wintertime long-term, just long enough to get by that and then do the.
Because it has to be 9 months.
Yeah, it has to be 9 months.
For them to sneak by it. And it's still
That's why they did the 9 months.
Yeah, that's why they did the 9 months. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they probably did the 9 months so that school teachers could actually, it's a big thing. So the school teachers are actually going to take advantage of the 9 months, and then the remaining 3 months are, do whatever you want to do, but people typically are going to stay in them for that. It's a logical timeline.
So hopefully, I know we're beating this one to death, but hopefully the state actually takes on identifying like short-term rentals in our town.
Well, all short-term rentals are, they're already registered with the state because they have to pay taxes.
Yeah.
Just not registered with the town.
Are you skipping?
Right.
You're skipping.
I'm skipping.
I'm yielding as well.
I'm yielding as well.
I was gone on vacation.
We got his postcard Monday.
Sent the town postcard. Just reading through the minutes from last month's meeting, and I saw that it was one of the scheduled matters, the Montana Coal Endowment Program, and suggested that in the near future, we were going to increase our base rates for both water and sewer. And I'm just wondering when.
When? So I contacted Joel with Joel Pilsner with Great West after doing my training, my initial training for the MSEP grant. You'll see why I'm hesitating here in a minute. And he said, let those play out. There's still a couple more pieces that are going to come in that will determine some of the items. And I didn't really understand what he was referring to until dun 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 dun, Ginger happily set something on my desk that comes in my email at the same time. And that is congratulations on your renewable resource grant award of $125,000 for Ennis Water System Improvement Project. Doesn't change our target rate, but it did change how he wanted to structure when he was coming in. So we're still thinking towards October is going to be when we do our rate increase. But he has his whole, they're working with me to start get the plan. They were at Great West was at that original training. They're representing several towns, so they're like, let us all get back in one place and get you a plan together. So that's where it's at. So that's my tie-in of dun, 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 dun.
So
That
we'll
takes
get-
us up to $625,000 towards that water project. Oh yeah, 4 years. Who knew it would take that long? Okay, everybody but me. I'm not a patient person. So anyway, I've already contacted John Way and Corey to say we're gonna sit down, we're gonna do a little transition because we know that you two will be here next year so that the training portion gets sent into your pockets. There's certain portions of each grant and its requirements that are requirements of the executive branch, the contractors, right down to signage, and then commission if there's any change over 5,000 in the last one. Monday, there's another required training for the DNRC grant, so I'll be on that on Monday at 1 o'clock to make sure that we're still meeting our requirements for all of those as they're piecing in. But yes, target rate has to be done by end of project completion. I'd still like it to be done by this commission since we initiated the whole role, and then we can phase it in over the time of the project. We don't have to be like, all right, starting December 1st, you're gonna be up $18. We can phase it in over the project. So Great West is gonna help us get that proposal done for this year. Yeah. All right, that's where that's at. That was my big moment.
Well, you won the commissioner's report, mayor report on that, because I can't do 125, yeah, or whatever it was. Yeah.
We're gonna have water. I'm just so excited. It's the little things in my world. I really truly enjoy flushing a toilet more than anything.
As long as that water tank holds up.
As long as the water tank holds up. So definitely project's not done. Going to be setting aside those items in capital improvement that need to be there that haven't been addressed over the years, so that we can look towards the future of maybe purchasing other land if we need to for mechanical treatment. That's where the focus is going to be for budget. Sorry, I'm going to be a little hands off on some stuff until those numbers come in. Every time we change something, I'm like PD right now, I'm like, do I put in this number? Do I put in this number? Change this number? Is this because it trickles into the court? I've already adjusted the court based on last year's numbers. Now I was waiting for this month to close out to see how close my projection for next year is going to be. So I'm already pretty sure I have to change some stuff again. But I've been doing it on paper because Ginger gets really mad when she has to put it in the computer 26 times and it changes everything else. So she doesn't get mad. She gives me the look of, do you know how much work that is? I'm like, so we're getting there. But I think there's still going to be some, I'm not going to have exact enough numbers to have the perfect budget. And I say that because I don't know what my comms number is for sure. I don't for sure have our wage plan. I think I have an idea.
That's why they write in that you can amend the budget.
Under special conditions. Yeah. Under special conditions, because that I think is one of our audit findings, that we did a budget amendment and not in the right way. So now I have things that in the future I would have tattooed on my arm at the time.
I guess I did have one more item. It was for the capital improvements. If you guys, I would definitely recommend going through and reading all of those. A lot of them are really good ideas that they've had in the past. And this one was for land acquisition and I think you mentioned it earlier about purchasing, well, it was about changing over our wastewater treatment plant to a different system. And
Yeah, we'll need land for that.
it's land acquisition, $200,000, 2 miles of piping, that's $2 million to pipe wastewater out to a parcel of land where we can irrigate it. So that's, it's a pretty.
And those were in 2016 numbers?
This is 2015, 16.
Oh, 2015
say,
numbers.
it was
But that
a long time ago.
15 was when that projection, because that's not even close to the current price of
Correct.
piping. Because, yeah, no.
Well, this was just land acquisition, and then your piping.
And again, I think that land
Filter.
acquisition from 15 to now is a wee bit higher than it used to be.
Yeah,
So yeah, so from that work session where we identified our priorities for capital, I'm trying to
Well,
put them in.
that
They just might not be the
kinda
full numbers from that
Budgeting,
document.
you basically need an engineering report on where the site would need to be.
Yeah.
So that it doesn't, I mean, because it's an issue with smell. You don't want it around any residents. The ranches are not gonna want it around them. So you're gonna have to find a piece of property that fits the bill, and
Or-
it's not gonna be easy around here.
Or a $38 million wastewater treatment plant that you can make snow out of.
Right.
So choose. So.
Right? Yeah, we just don't have the room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway.
He's up early. I'm doing trash in the morning. Sally's taking trash when I go on vacation. Unscheduled for an item to be put on the next agenda. Okay. Oh,
Explain to me about, there's still time for write-in for
candidates.
mail. Can there be a write-in ballot for mayor and for, you have one position that's not, hasn't.
Right.
Hmm?
Partial, a 2-year is still open.
Hmm?
No. There's no
Unless you
election
get a
because
write-in.
only-
Unless you get a write-in candidate.
Huh? Unless we have a write-in candidate.
Unless a write-in candidate.
That's what I'm asking about.
She's asking for something.
You still have to file for a write-in, and you can file for a
But
write-in.
there is still time to file. Am I right?
Correct. August
Correct.
5th.
August 5th would be is the deadline for write-in candidates.
August 5th?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's what I wanted to know.
Oh, okay.
You want to be honest? Is that what you're saying?
No, I don't. She's not volunteering. She's asking questions. She's not volunteering.
All right. Anything else for unscheduled? I think we just be concise with our next couple because we're going to have to go into some budget. We didn't get those until middle of August last year. So we're going to end up with another meeting at the end of the month. What works? Let's just say it right now because we're going to have a work session and at least. What?
We just said when you want to come meet.
Yeah. When do you want to come?
I'm out of town on July 25th through 31st.
The 11th to the 26th.
Oh, my
We're all
gosh.
gonna overlap.
Well, that's,
Yeah.
that's the shot the month.
You're gone from
Yeah,
the
we just
11th
killed
to-
it.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say I'd remote in, but I'm being wholesome. I don't want to have camping. I don't have any cell service. 25th. Yeah.
And Jim's gone the 11th to the 26th.
Can you remote in on the
Terrible.
24th?
Did I hear that right?
Yeah,
I'm going to be
Okay.
in Papstone the 24th and 25th.
What?
Yeah, over at Papstone. I'm not sure if I'll have service or not.
Third? All right.
I'll be able to attend remotely no matter what.
23rd?
23rd is a Wednesday.
I know, it's not our regular, but that way we can have our,
Let me look at my other- As long as it's at 6:15, I can do it.
Okay.
Yeah. 'Cause I can get off the river and be here and roll in.
and then the other reminder is the 17th. If anybody wants, it's in your email, is the municipal training on the, oh, come on. I can't remember which number it was that translates mills into dollar value and how it affects the budget and budgetings.
I need to go do that, but I can't do it on the 7th.
So I think, I don't know if they're going to record it, but that's on the 17th as well. I
think somebody I was talking to said they are going to record it.
think they are.
If-
I will ask and beg.
If they do, let me know. I'd
We'll have
love
to
to get a copy of
Check
this.
to be 100% on that.
I know there's a couple of staff and I that are gonna pinch it in on 17th, mills, budgets.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna shoot for the 23rd. Okay? At least have preliminary budget. I have to go back through everything. I hadn't calculated matching funds for this grant, so now I have to go back through all the public works stuff and figure that out.
So I just asked Jim if the sheriff's, if the contract will be completed with all the numbers in it so that we could work on the presentation of the numbers at that work session. on the
Okay.
23rd.
I mean, the tough part of what we did was drafting the contract. So now that the contract is drafted and each party agrees to it, then the biggest part is going to be what John volunteered me for. But that's okay, because I like Commissioner Way, so you got away with it. You owe me a sandwich. One of your brisket sandwiches.
Or it's not brisket day.
All right, then I think we're there. And
You
we'll
work
set
at
up
home
some.
to make sandwiches.
I give you
Bacon.
some of the budget numbers.
Okay, I just got tasked with business valuation for 4 years. It's gonna, at this week's.
Okay,
I'm just
not
gonna
this week.
I'm gonna give it to you until the 16th. I'm out of the water.
Okay, then I'll have some preliminaries. Maybe have you help me with the rest of them after that.
Yeah.
Okay.
The 16th was a Wednesday.
Mhm.
I'm available Thursday or Friday.
Okay,
As soon as I have something. I'll take it over to you.
Corey.
Corey,
Move to adjourn.
God bless you.
Second.
Second, yes.
All right. Sweet. Have a safe trip at the AM.
Should be the first night that I don't help with tables, but I really do need to get out of here.
You're good. I just got back from vacation. I'll take care of it all.
You're all rested.
Everybody needs to do it for at least 3 weeks. Change your voice channel. I'm currently out of town for the next few weeks. Feel free to leave a message on some other phone.
Some of them are fun. Some of them are fun. This was Canva or whatever. We can other towns and stuff. You're like, we have it so good here. We didn't have 2 hours of public comment. I've been wanting to have this conversation for a really long time.
Till when?
It needs to be done right.
Willie? Yes, sir. Corey.
Yeah. I appreciate that.
Cool.
I think
Yeah.
it's important.
See you next time.
Yes, sir. Hey, John.
Yeah.
Hey, how are you? Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
I just want to see it happen.
Oh, silver belly. Yeah. Glad to be here. It's relatively expensive. I can spend that much money here in Ennis. I wouldn't have to try very hard.
Yeah, but at least here in Ennis, you just stick in your bed.
Yeah.
See, after a week of not being in my bed, I'm like, I'm
Yeah, I have. I would
I
like-
love it.
No, yeah, that's what.
From an appreciation standpoint,
Yeah. So.
Because all that is going to my real, not my.
Oh, no, I sorry, I should have sent it to you. Yeah, so, yeah, I have, it was, yeah, it's gonna be,
I apologize.
yeah. All right, you too, Jen.
Oh, sure. I'm turning them all back on. Dude, for real?